Here in Newark, Delaware, fans for the Fighting Blue Hens and Delaware State will help make history today. For the first time ever, these two schools meet on the football field. You're watching the NCAA Football Championship, presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. From Delaware Stadium in Newark, Delaware, it's the first round of the NCAA Football Championship, formerly known as 1AA. The Fighting Blue Hens take on Delaware State, champs of the MEAC. This is the opening round of the 16-team NCAA Division I Championship. The winner of this game takes on the victor of top-seeded and top-ranked Northern Iowa and Delaware's league rival New Hampshire of the Colonial Athletic Association. The Panthers and Wildcats play tomorrow night in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Hello and welcome to Newark, Delaware. It's great to have you with us. Dave Ryan alongside the coach Jim Donovan, who won a national championship at Marshall at this level back in 1992. We'll hear from Shannon Spick on the sideline in a moment. Well, the number one is very prevalent in our broadcast today. Delaware is known as the first state, first ever ratified the Constitution of the United States. Also, Jim, the first ever matchup between Delaware and Delaware State. It's a game these folks have waited for a long time.
Well, can you imagine going to the first Georgia Tech game or Ohio State, Michigan game? This is really the big deal here. Playing for the state championship, also playing in the playoffs.
And number one as well for Delaware State. First time they've ever made the postseason. They come from Dover, Delaware, capital of this state. And John Taylor, who won 3 Super Bowl rings with the 49ers, has to be their most famous alum. Coach, another player, Shahir McBride, a wide receiver, would like to be another famous alum someday from Delaware State, too.
Well, he's an outstanding player. He's already caught 12 touchdown passes on the year. Been a little trouble with a high ankle sprain, but he's a big part of this offense and needs to have a big game today.
Delaware knows a thing or two about winning national championships, Division II and 1AA. They won it back in 2003, and they're loaded with a lot of talent, too. From right here in Newark with a much bigger enrollment, their famous alum, Rich Gannon, former MVP with the Oakland Raiders in the NFL, who led the Raiders to a Super Bowl appearance. We'll keep a close eye today on their star running back, Omar Cuff, who's setting record after record this season.
Well, can you imagine a guy scoring 7 touchdowns in one game? He's already got 29 on the year, 33 total. He's a good receiver. He runs a lot like Ray Rice for Rutgers, a bowling ball type guy, can break it inside or out. Looking for a big game out of him today.
A big word in Newark, Delaware today, Coach, is finally. Delaware and Delaware State are set to go head-to-head. It's the Division I Championship first-round game next. Beautiful day, college football here in Newark, Delaware. We are set for the first round and the first ever matchup between Delaware State and Delaware. As promised, with more on the matchup, third member of our crew on the field, here's Shannon Spick.
Well, thanks, Dave. Now, we've already heard there's about a 45-minute drive that separate these two teams. But for the first time in the school's histories, this football field is going to separate the two football teams. Now, no matter what side of the stadium you're sitting on, who you're rooting for, these fans have been waiting a long time for this game. They have that in common. Now, you got to remember, this is more than just a historic game. This is a playoff game. So if you win, you go on. If you lose, you go home. Now, we asked both coaches if they have any motivational tools, something to get their players pumped up on the sidelines, and they said no. History, making history, and the ability to compete for a national title, well, that's motivation enough. Dave?
All right, Shannon, these two schools are pumped for the first ever matchup. One reason, they're so close to each other. In a state that only has 850,000 people as a population, 45th most populous state in our nation. We are now ready to go. Casey Keeler, an alum at Delaware who won a national championship when this school was Division II as a linebacker back in 1979. And he'll go head-to-head with Al Levan. Fourth season as Delaware State's head coach. Levan, a longtime assistant in the NFL ranks, worked with such great players as Tony Dorsett, Herschel Walker, Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, John Strayevsky is set to kick off here for Delaware. Brandon Hudson, Kareem Jones, the deep men for Delaware State. And the first ever matchup between the Fighting Blue Hens and the Hornets is underway. It's Hudson. He's hit, and down he goes. J.T. Laws on special teams stops Hudson after a 9-yard return. We look forward to seeing outstanding offense and speed for Delaware State, led by the quarterback, Sean Witten. He's a junior out of Chicago. As a starter in his career, Hornets are 25-7. You see his season numbers. Featured back with him is Kareem Jones, a junior from Lansingburg, New York, near Albany, the state capital. First play, first ever game. It's play action. Witten's going to throw. McBride brings it in. No, it's incomplete. Almost had it. Looked like he had it in traffic. Shahir McBride, their top target, can't come up with it. It is incomplete. Charles Graves on coverage.
Well, Witten is throwing the ball into the wind. He certainly had on the stop-and-go route. Very good move by McBride. Looks like he's got it, but the wind really a factor in this game early.
Looks like the ball was out there. Graves, good coverage. Sophomore from Raleigh, North Carolina. At this level, football championship subdivision, we do not have instant replay in case you're thinking about reviews. Won't have them today. Shotgun Witten. Jones the carry. Now it's keeping. It's Deshaun Witten. Good ball fake. Play is strung out. Fred Andrew trips him up. Andrew from Valrica, Florida, outside of Tampa. Delaware State backs and receivers. Jones, he's their featured running back. Shrewsbury, the up back, good blocker. McBride's got the speed, NFL prospect. Moore and Blake Covington, also receivers today. Brown, Kent, Richmond, Breath, and Steinbacher. The offensive line for the Hornets, they are huge. They average nearly 325 pounds from tackle to tackle across the line. First third down conversion attempt with Sean Witten and Delaware State. Screen pass. McBride brings it in. Stop to the 22. Eric Johnson nails him after a gain of just 2. Hornets in a punting situation.
Well, that's an outstanding job of Johnson playing inside backer, seeing the quick screen and great pursuit and tremendous open field tackle. We're going to see a lot of open field plays today, and the team that tackles the best has the best shot because both teams run the spread attack.
Josh Bright in the kick here, right from Bakersfield, California. Aaron Lowe is the deep man, also their top receiver for the Fighting Blue Hens and the home Blues. Not a good kick by Bright. End over ran, little liner that hooks into the Delaware bench, and a short field here for the Fighting Blue Hens on their first offensive possession of our ball game today.
Well, Casey Keeler, the head coach of Delaware, couldn't have had a better opening series for his defense. He deferred, kicked off with the wind, had a good play there to turn it over, and now with a short kick, great field position for Flacco and his offense.
It's Joe Flacco, coach from Audubon, New Jersey, just southeast of Philadelphia, across the Delaware River. A tremendous season for him. A transfer from the University of Pittsburgh, where he was Tyler Palco's backup for 2 years. Second season as a starter here at this level. He's got a cannon arm. Big-time NFL prospect. Throws on the move. Ball is incomplete. Nearly intercepted there by Reeves defensively. Russell Reeves, good play to break it up. Delaware backs and receivers. Cuff, we told you about. Kevin Lashad, joined by Love, will return that punt. Or tried to. Duncan, one of the top receivers, along with Robbie Agnone. He's a tight end. Offensive line, Benson, Nicholson, Hendricks, Beverly, and Mike Byrne. Watch for Byrne, top prospect in terms of NFL potential. He is a captain. And preseason and postseason all-conference in the CAA. Here's Omar Cup, first carry of the day. Wrestled down, Ron Spinner. Makes the tackle defensively, pick up of 3. Offensive line, Alameo Wilder, joined by Hurst, Ron Spinner, and Kelly Rouse, who looked great on film. We watched him this week. Watkins, big hitter, joined by Russell Reeves. He's an NFL prospect, and Josh Pope. Secondary, Kennard, McCoy, Ryan Robinson, and Akeem Green. Reggie McCoy, a transfer from Syracuse at the football bowl level. Check with me play on the bench for the quarterback, Joe Flacco. Third down, blitz coming, pressure over the middle. It's Aaron Love, brings it in. Slides ahead to the 32. He's got a first down for the Fighting Blue Hens. Pope wrestles him down eventually. Pick up there of 10, and the chains move for Delaware.
Well, it's just a tremendous job of Flacco feeling the pressure. You see Pope on the crossing route, and that's what you got to do. Beat the guy to the inside when you got pressure from the defense in front. A tremendous job by Flacco. That's where his height really, it's got 6'6". He can see over anything.
Bubba Jr. from Detroit, one of 2 players on the Delaware roster from the state of Michigan. First team all-conference. And a top target for Flacco. Stands with plenty of time all day for Flacco to throw. Finally flushed right. Flacco on the move. Has a man open. Agnon brings it in. Touchdown! Robbie Agnon, a 32-yard score on a broken play. Hens have the icebreaker.
This is tremendous poise. Downfield coverage was great. It looked like he was going to just throw the ball out of bounds, but good job of breaking back on the ball by Agnon. And you really, there's no way you can defend a play like that. They had him the whole way, and just tremendous play by Flacco. He's a really big-time quarterback.
John Strojewski adds the PAT. He's 52 for 52 this year on that stat. Agnon, the junior, and another transfer from the University of Pittsburgh, just like his quarterback.
The Rose Bowl. The NCAA Division I Football Championship, presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car, is brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up.
A 7-0 game. Fighting Blue Hens of Delaware in the first round of the NCAA Division I Championship from here in Newark, Delaware. And a packed house at Delaware Stadium. Raymond Field, named for Tubby Raymond, all-time great coach here, and all legend. Casey Keeler, the head coach here, played for and won a national championship with back in 1979 when the team played at Division II. Here is Strojewski, a former walk-on, an interesting story, who's now scholarship and a star kicker. Hudson inside his 5. Brandon Hudson's got some speed. 30-yard line, 35, here he goes, 40. Looks for a cutback and is upended there on special teams by Martwain Johnston. One back of 43 yards, and the spark maybe that Hudson and Delaware State needed.
Well, this is a very deceptive kickoff return by Hudson because all the wall was on the right-hand side of the field, and he saw a lot of pursuit over there, and he just reversed his field and came back to the left. Tremendous return.
We'll see him a lot on special teams and in the secondary today. Plays in the nickel and dime package.
From the previous spot and re-kick.
There was a penalty flag and an offsides call. First penalty of the game today.
Just a devastating penalty for Delaware State. You know, there's going to be a little nerves involved. Their first playoff appearance, playing in the first time against Delaware, and it's shown really early with the poor punt and now the offsides play on the kickoff. Cost him about 50 yards. Just tremendous return by Hudson, and he showed his skill in the open field and his awareness because it looked like everything was tied up on the right, and he just broke it back to the left for a great return.
William Etzler is our referee today. The officials from the Gateway Conference. Also part of this football championship subdivision.
Dave, one of the things we can watch for today on special teams that the fans can too, you can only dress out 60 players in the playoffs, so we're going to see a lot of special teams guys that aren't used to being on these teams. And right there you saw the offside just on the alignment there by Delaware State.
John Strojewski, to finish up his story, was a walk-on here at Delaware. Kicked briefly in 2005. Coach, in 2006, he went to Casey Keeler and said, "I'm on a red shirt. I don't think I can really make much of an impact this season." Rare to see a kicker redshirt at all, especially in the middle of his career. Has a tremendous spring in 07. The coach said he was money, and he earned the job, and here he is as a now on scholarship kicker. He'll try again after that penalty. Lerone Moore watches it sail over his head. That's the leg that they like from Strajewski. It's a touchback, and the Hornets get it at their own 20 to start their second drive of the afternoon. See the pump of the fist there for Strajewski, who missed the field goal in their last game, Coach. It was a loss 16-10 to one of their rivals against Villanova in the CAA, just about half an hour from where we are here. And with 2 straight losses, there was some doubt whether they make the 16-team field this year.
Right. It's going to certainly getting that early touchdown helps the morale of this Delaware team because they lost their last 2 games. But they did make it to the playoffs. Now it's a 16-team field, 1-game elimination there.
We saw a great ball handling from Rashawn Witten in that first drive. Jones nowhere to go. Decked immediately by Eric Johnson, whose brother Sean was an All-American here and had a look at the NFL of a couple of teams as well. There's a look at that near play by McBride, Coach, early, and a reminder, no replay at this level until we get to the semifinals.
Well, I think just because of the capacity of all these teams, there's not a lot of TV in some of these games, and it's a good rule to have because it's just because we could have it today, somebody didn't have television couldn't. So they're doing the semifinals, and it's good that they have it.
Eric Johnson from Fairport, New York, upstate near Rochester. Coach, that's where I live in that area. Snowing hard last couple days. Nice to be here in Delaware with the sun shining. Witten throws to no one there. Was looking for Blake Covington, his senior tight end out of Pittsburgh, and maybe a blown route or miscommunication. 3rd and 12 coming up here for the Hornets, and as you pointed out, Jim, they seem out of sorts early in this one.
Yeah, they do, and Nick Rapone, defensive coordinator, is trying to give them some different looks, coming at them with some different outside pressures, and so far Witten's had a little trouble recognizing them, and the receivers are having a hard time getting off the line of scrimmage. They're getting jammed.
Fans are heard again. Packed house here at Delaware Stadium. Expecting 20,000 or more for this first round championship game. Witten, the keeper, stumbles across the 26. Needed a 30 for the first down. He's well shy. And another punting situation for Del State. 8-yard pickup. Walters on the tackle defensively. For the fighting Blue Hens. Aaron Love, deep man again to receive the punt.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Delaware come after this kick with the nervousness of the first one. This guy's going to really try to aim this one out of there. Might be a little slow on the kick.
Josh Bright shanked his first kick. Second effort, again, sinker ball, end over end. We got a baseball description and a golf description on the first 2 punts from Bright. Not good kicks, but at least this one into fighting Blue Hen territory to the 43-yard line. Later tonight, Colt Brennan takes his Heisman hopes, NFL aspirations. 15th ranked Hawaii tries to keep an undefeated season, a chance at a BCS bowl game alive. They host number 19 Boise State, what should be an offensive shootout. Rivalry Week presented by Remington and ESPN 2 tonight, 9 Eastern. Watch out for Boise State and their head coach, Chris Peterson. Brilliant young staff. They're the numbers for Brennan, speaking of brilliant, last year against the Broncos.
Well, the big thing is his health tonight, coming off that concussion. But I give Hawaii a lot of credit winning without Brennan last week on the road against Nevada.
Here's Flacco and the Delaware offense. Up by 7. There's it out again. Love brings it in. Aaron Love, great catch in traffic. Down to the 19-yard line. Finally brought down by Green. 39-yard pickup for Delaware on the move again.
Well, here's a great example of the touch that Flacco has. He looks off the defense. They're in a 3-deep coverage. They send 4 vertical receivers, and Love right in between the corner and the safety snatches it out of the air. This is a tremendous throw and a really good job of looking the ball in by Love and avoiding the contact and keeping the ball in this grass. That was a big-time throw.
Aaron Love, first team all Colonial Athletic Association. We see why. 20 straight games with a catch for him now. First down. Cuff runs left. Omar Cuff Inside the 10, wrestled down, eventually by 3 tacklers led by Akeem Green and Reggie McCoy. He transferred from Syracuse, started his career at the Carrier Dome as a senior from Washington, D.C. and DeMatha High School. Great numbers for Omar Cuff, who leads all divisions, Jim, all players. With 33 total touchdowns. 29 of the rushing variety for Cuff. And what a story about Omar Cuff, too. Came to this program at Delaware as a safety. Now he's setting records. And here he's sniffing out the end zone inside the 5. Nailed at the 4, pick up of 4 yards for Omar Cuff. Hurst got him. Jim, what about that story? In your long coaching career at Marshall and Georgia, you had a guy pegged like an Omar Cuff, as they did here, Casey Keeler at Delaware, that he was only going to be a safety, wouldn't play running back. Now he's setting records.
Yeah, we had a guy named Chris Terry, who was a defensive end, moving to offensive tackle. But right here, this kid has got the attitude that, you know, whatever it takes. He really works hard. He was a poor receiver starting out. Now he can catch the ball out of the backfield. But here's what we need to watch for this Delaware attack. They look to pass the ball first, and if the pass isn't there, then they run it. Obviously, inside the 10, they're going to get more run-oriented, but this is a very good red zone attack.
Matt Ruggiero, the up back here for Cuff. 3rd and goal. Cuff up the middle, plows ahead, touchdown!
Good movement on the line of scrimmage led by Nicholson, the left guard, and they just get Burma Road here. You got to get behind your pads and knock it in there. And you see the good job of stepping around by Nicholson. A really good job of reading the defense and blocking it like it's supposed to.
Krajewski tries the PAT, adds it. There was a flag down because Delaware State was offsides. And I imagine they'll be declining the penalty, taking the PAT.
We have offside on the defense, number 32. The penalty has declined. The extra point is good.
Nicholson showed you his ability on the goal line, being able to step around there. That was a good job.
5-play, 57-yard drive under 2 minutes. Delaware making it look easy. Fighting Blue Hens up 14. Here in Newark, the first ever meeting head-to-head between Delaware and Delaware State. 11 other sports have met head-to-head between these two schools. Women's basketball played earlier this year. Delaware won that. They regularly compete. Track and field, softball, and baseball. Back down to Shannon Spink.
Dave, it's a very exciting day for these two gentlemen, Dr. Patrick Harker and Dr. Alan Sessoms. These are the two presidents of University of Delaware and Delaware State. We'll start with you first. There's been a lot of media attention about this game. Why have these two teams never met in the regular season before today?
Well, I'm the new president here, so I can't exactly answer that. But as I've said from July 1 on, we will hopefully keep this tradition up in the years ahead, and we're committed to doing that at UD.
That's right. You have publicly supported these two teams meeting. So when do you think we can see this on your schedule during the regular season?
As soon as possible, without us reneging on an arrangement we've already made with the school. That does seem unfair to back out of a deal that we've already committed to.
All right, we're going to throw it up to date for the kickoff, and then we'll come back with Dr. Sessoms.
All right, Shannon, thank you. Interesting story, certainly. Secure, the head coach of Delaware, said, yeah, it is a scheduling issue. Because often coaches and ADs, presidents, athletic directors, that is, have their schedules set years ahead of time. But Alabama, the head coach of Delaware State, said, hey, anywhere, anytime we will play Delaware. And he said, scheduling, Jim, is stunningly simple, his words. Let's make it happen. What do you think?
Well, certainly on their side of the street, it looks like an easy game to play. But Delaware's got a rich tradition. They always play a 1A team. They beat Navy this year. So you got to look at it, but this looks like a no-brainer. I think we're going to see it here in the future.
Beat Navy 59-52, October 27th. LeRon Moore, 4 yards deep in his end zone. It's Hudson who grabs it, and he is grabbed. Outside the 15 to about the 18-yard line. Good hit by Matt Ruggiero on special teams by Delaware. Back down to Shannon.
Well, back here with Dr. Sessoms. a lot of media attention about this game. Tell me, what was the atmosphere? What was the feeling in Dover when you guys found out that you were going to be playing the University of Delaware?
Well, people were excited. They were happy to play anybody. This is the first playoff game for this football team. It didn't matter who we played. That was Delaware, made it more convenient, but I think they were just excited to play.
And you mentioned it. This is the first playoff game for this school. What does that say about how far this football team has come since you've been there and in their history?
Well, they've come a long way, but the team was underfunded. We didn't even have the full complement of scholarships when I arrived. We got great coaches, and they really put together a team that is pretty impressive. Going from 1-10 to 10-1 in a few years is a good feeling.
That's right. We'll let you get back to the game, enjoying the game. Thank you for joining us. Dave?
All right, Shannon, thanks. Good information for both gentlemen there. Delaware all-time is 56-8 against Delaware State in the sports they played. So the Fighting Blue Hens have owned the Hornets overall. This is one of a couple of in-state games this weekend in the Division I football championship. The last carry by Adam Shrewsbury. On second down, Jones wrestled down from behind. Nowhere to go there. Hit by Matt Marcarelli, who was named this week third team All-Colonial Athletic Association. Led the team in sacks this year with 5.5.
Critical third down pickup here. Only one first down so far for Delaware State. They need to make something happen, get their defense off the field. I mean, they're down 14-0. They need to make some first downs, get some rhythm in their offense.
3rd and 3 for their head coach, Al Levan. Nearly 20 years as an assistant in the NFL and college ranks. Jones finally does get that first down they needed. Across the 30 to the 31. Let's go to the studio now. Well, we'll do that soon. And check in with Reese Davis, standing by to give us updates on what's going on in the world of college football. Big topic of conversation, Jim, the USC win over Arizona State last night. Impressive for John David
Guarantee you one team I wouldn't want to play in a bowl right now. The way John David Booty was throwing the football last night would be USC.
Finally, first down for the Hornets, and maybe as coach pointed out, some confidence badly needed. Down already by a couple of touchdowns. Jones tries the right side, runs into a blue wall. Hit hard there by Tim Prindle and Eric Johnson, as promised. To Reese Davis in the studio.
And standing by to deliver, Rhino. We're checking in on Nebraska and Colorado. This has been an offensive score fest. Cody Hawkins, this Big 12 football. Tyson DeVries for the touchdown. And just seconds later, I mean, Colorado's defense has been abysmal. Joe Gans and Todd Peterson, 35-24 at the half. Gans did go to the locker room a few seconds early, guys. We'll keep an eye on him.
Reese, thank you. Big 12 action there. Here it's Division I championship, first round game. Winton's going to run with it. 30, chased out of bounds at about the 35. Walter Blair helped shove him out of bounds. Good pursuit as well there from Eric Johnson. Blair, coach, an interesting story. Went from, as we see, the yards per play here. Delaware racking it up. More than 11. They've got it going offensively.
Well, you get a lot of big plays. Your stats look good. But right now, the best shot that Delaware State has is running it right at this Blue Hen defense. They're just not quick enough on the perimeter with their east-west plays. The best plays so far have been the zone read, where they don't have to block everybody.
Have an illegal substitution on the offense. 12 men on the field.
Looks like Aaron Moore is having some conversations with his position coach on the Hornets sideline.
One of the things you always worry about in the playoffs is your kids being too hyped up. And you know, Delaware State, their first chance to see what playoff action is like, whereas Casey Keeler with the Blue Hens of Delaware, they've been in this situation before. Their preparation, they've been able to tell their kids what it's like to play. Plus, we got different officials today. Both leagues aren't represented here. We got the Gateway Conference officials calling this game.
3rd and 10, and Alabama wants a timeout for Delaware State. On a big third down conversion try here in our first quarter.
We have timeout, Delaware State. Their first. That will be a 30-second timeout.
As we told you, Delaware State from the MEAC, first time they've ever been in the Division I championship with an 8-0 record in conference, an 8-game win streak this year for the Hornets coming in. Their lone loss at Kent State, so that's a 1A team, coach. Football Bowl subdivision team that was way back in September.
Yeah, Dave, anytime you can go through your conference undefeated shows the dominance they had. I talked to some coaches that had scouted Delaware State. They talked about them being a very solid team on offense, but a really good defensive team. And right now, they're just defeating themselves. We had a situation where they had 12 men on the field, and then on that situation, they only had 10, so they had to call timeout. You know, it's a lot better when you got 11 on the field, Dave.
Delaware State this year for Alavan ending a 3-year reign by the Hampton Pirates as champs of the MEAC. And by winning the conference, an automatic bid to the 16-team Division I championship field. Single elimination. Winner go home. 3rd and 10. Winton shotgun. Time to throw. Fires right side. Looks for McBride. That is incomplete to Shahir McBride. Fred Andrew, a junior from Valrico, Florida, near Tampa, on the coverage. They've got to get McBride on track here, Jim. He is their top receiver. Needs 1 touchdown to break John Taylor's all-time record, 33 touchdown catches in a career at Delaware State.
Well, the first play of the game, he had a shot at a big play, and then we've seen a lot of different coverages by Nick Rapone, defensive coordinator. That time they dropped 8 and double covered him.
Josh Bright, a little better on this kick. Bounces at the 40, and then a fighting Blue Hen roll. Delaware State thinks it might have touched someone on the way through. Let's see. Officials confer. Delaware gets it. They'll take over at their own 43 on this possession. 27-yard kick. We talked about the MEAC. How about the CAA? Coach, this is the initial year of this conference, and look at that. 2 divisions and 5 teams into the Division I championship. That's unprecedented. Delaware used to play in the Atlantic 10.
Well, you've never seen 5 teams from one division in this playoff situation, but very deserving. And certainly Delaware is a great example of a team that looked like they couldn't make it, but they're in it, and they deserve to be. I mean, you got to get the 16 best teams in, and 5 of them are from the Colonial Athletic Association.
All trying to upend Appalachian State, the 2-time defending champs in this division. Flacco using those good feet. Rolls left, flags down. Throws there for Josh Baker, incomplete, into the Delaware State sideline, and we've got the call here.
We have illegal participation on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Well, we just got on the offensive team for having 12 men, then 10. Now we've got 12 men on defense, and they were in a nickel situation, and one of their linemen didn't come out, so they had 12 men on the field. And the way that rule works, if you can get off, get the play before it's snapped, it's just a 5-yard penalty. Once it's snapped, it's 15 yards. Very costly penalty for the Hens. They got to, for the Hornets, they got to start. Their coaches got to start helping them a little bit here, too. I mean, they're having some real bad problems as far as organization.
And problem stopping Omar Cuff. There is a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Cuff gets himself down to the 25. Another nice pickup for Cuff. He runs so well. 17-yard gain if it stands. We'll get the call. That's coming back.
Dave, what we've been seeing out of this Delaware offense is a slow, methodical no huddle where they've been going to the line and really looking over the defense and then trying to, get the best possible call. On that situation, they came up and ran it on the first sound, and one of their players jumped too quickly.
And the illegal motion. Number 21 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
We weren't sure, as Duncan was the guilty party there on the illegal motion for Delaware, how healthy Omar Cuff would be. Had to leave the game at Villanova last week with a back injury. And Cuff looked like he's running well so far early in this one. Trying to become the first player ever at Delaware to lead the team in rushing 4 straight seasons. Not bad for a player who's told he would never play running back here at Delaware. Flacco on first down after the penalty. Fires. Look at the arm strength. Duncan can't bring it in. Incomplete at the 30. And watching Joe Flacco coach on tape, studying up for this game, we saw a quarterback not only with good feet, the size for the NFL, 6'6", 230, but arm strength. He can make every throw on the field, can he?
Well, he's got a powerful arm, and he's got the ability to look around the defense and read the defense. Been well coached by Coach Shiraka, and what he's able to do is gun it in there. Reminds me a lot of Ben Roethlisberger when he was playing at Miami. Just the fact he can see over the defense, but athletic enough to move around the pocket.
Shotgun, second down. Again, time, again, unloads. Love, what a catch! Aaron Love at the 33. 13-yard gain, upended in traffic. And Jim, we talked about last week's loss at Nova. Players like Love dropping passes. That's not happening today.
Well, that's the difference in today. They're making every catch, and certainly you knew you're going to get a situation. We got a quick play here.
It's Cuff. Tries the left side. Another nice gain on first down to the 26-yard line. Now check that. That was a third down play after the penalty. So now first down. Hurst knocked him down. Gain of 7.
They're really catching Delaware State off guard with their quick no huddle. When they go out and take their time, Delaware State can get lined up. But right now they're having a hard time setting their defense.
Omar Cuff again. Josh Pope, Will linebacker out of Philadelphia, first to get to him defensively for the Hornets. Already down by a pair of scores here in our first quarter. First round of the football championship subdivision here in Newark, Delaware. And the first ever meeting between the two schools located just 45 miles apart. The no huddle on the spread. Little check with me play where Flacco will look over to his bench, get the right signal after they see what Delaware State is showing defensively. On second down, fires over the middle, has a man again. That's put in by Josh Baker. He's all the way down to the 6-yard line of Delaware State. Another first down, 21 more yards for the Hens.
Just been impressed with the poise that Flacco has shown and all the different receivers he's been able to hit. Here's Josh Baker lining up at tight end, coming across on an inside route, secures it, holds it on in traffic, and just a big play. And again, what we're seeing is a variety of different routes by this Blue Hen offense. They got it all in the spread.
Look at the passing yards. 16th catch of the year for Baker. Omar Cuff plows ahead inside the 5. Eric Sewell, the Mike linebacker from Hackensack, New Jersey, made the stop. Pickup of 4 for Omar Cuff. And to review his story, just amazing. Came as a walk-on to Delaware. He was told he'd never play running back. Flacco trying to push the ball forward. He's going to be short of the goal line. Amazing coach that Omar Cuff wasn't sure where he was going to play. The coaches first saw him in the weight room. They said, this guy can't even play safety. Who gave him a scholarship? And now he's setting record after record, and it's been tremendous. 33 touchdowns this year to lead all divisions.
Watching these guys practice yesterday, they used a motion guy and ran the option to the weak side. Let's see if they do it.
3 tight ends in. Cuff gets it. Hey, he's got himself a touchdown. Second of the day. Give him 35 for the year, and you saw the record that Cuff is set within the conference.
Well, this is just a good case of getting behind your pads and sticking it in the end zone. Great job up at the line of scrimmage by Agnon, the tight end, getting movement, and that's what you got to have down there. It's one-on-one blocking.
Strafsky will try the PAT. And he has been perfect all year. I say it, and there goes the perfect year. He pulls it to the left, no good.
But the only thing they've done wrong in the first quarter.
Just about. He had been 51 for 51 was Strafsky coming into the year. Shannon, how about more on Omar Cuff?
Well, that's right, Dave. Omar Cuff just showing how valuable he is to this team. And as you said, he was told he was never going to play running back. In fact, he was used in many different positions. Tight end, wide receiver, cornerback. He told me he played every position except quarterback. But he loves the position he's in right now. Why? Well, he said because of the one-back offense they run, he gets his hands on the ball all the time. And, of course, he has rushed for 100 yards in 18 games in his career, Dave.
Shannon, 12 games in a row with a touchdown for Cuff. That was snapped last week, that 16-10 loss at Villanova. And on a chilly day in Newark, the fans a lot to cheer about if you're rooting for the Fighting Blue Hens.
Old guy in here yesterday, it's about 65 degrees. These kids are out here working out in shorts. And this morning he got out here, and you need to have on the Alaskan outfit.
Again, back to Shannon's point, the coaches here at Delaware call Omar Cuff the Michael Westbrook of the Fighting Blue Hens. Versatile guy, can do a lot, and there's a very interesting story about how he became such a good receiving running back, too. Had quite a bit of practice because of the coaches said as the ball blows off the tee again. Omar Cuff couldn't catch a cold when he first came to Delaware. On either side of the ball, Shannon pointed out different positions he played. So he went home and worked with his mom in their yard, catching passes at dusk to concentrate on the ball as much as he possibly could. That's how Omar Cuff became such a good receiving running back as the winds howl here in Delaware, the first state. Strafsky's going to try this again. See if the ball stays on the tee this time. It does. Hudson on the run, grabs it. And he's going to catch that with the wind. Reverses field. Here he goes. Got some speed outside the 40 to the 42-yard line, and that's where the Hornets take over. 1st and 10. Saturday, bitter rivals collide on ESPN2. The ACC Coastal Division Championship on the line. Frank Beamer, 8th-ranked Hokies take on Algro, and number 16 Virginia. College football presented by BYCars.com. Part of Feast Week presented by Remington. Noon Eastern on ESPN2. College football lives here.
Yeah, let's watch that Virginia Tech defense, man. They're all over everything. But Virginia, heck of a year. Great coaching job by Al Grove.
Yeah, lost that first game at Wyoming and Laramie, then won 8 straight, 9-2 record coming into that game. Tomorrow I'll have it for you. Jones carries to about midfield. Kareem Jones.
Well, here's the dilemma here for Delaware State. They're down 21-0 in their first playoff game. Do you stick with your game plan or you just throw it out the window? I think what they've got to do is continue to run the ball right at this Delaware defense. Anything that they do on the outside right now has been snuffed. Keep running the option, run the inside zone, and see if you can find some way to get the ball to McBride.
Shahir McBride is lined up to the right of Rashawn Whitney's their star receiver. Here's Shrewsbury, tries the right side, runs into a lot of trouble there. Stacked up by Charles Graves, a sophomore from Raleigh, North Carolina. And a free safety for Delaware.
All year long, Delaware's had a hard time stopping people. They got a very young defense, got most of them back for the next 2 years. Their offense has really carried them, but today, defensively, they made the stops to really put their offense in great field position.
Let's go to our first quarter. Another first down finally for Delaware State. They're visiting unis here today in Newark, Delaware. Winton keeps, then lost it. Ball's on the ground. Fighting Blue Hens say they've got it. Let's see what the officials think. Delaware's ball. Rashawn Winton lost the coach on the option key.
Yeah, they've been running the inside zone, and this time he decides to keep the ball. Good job there of reading the defensive end and faking him out. But you just got to put the ball in your outside arm because everybody's coming from the inside. And, you know, one of the things that we really work hard on in the playoff situation or getting into postseason is working on how to recover a fumble. If you fumble it, that's okay, but you better get it. And right there, Deshaun had a chance to really pick the ball up, and he couldn't get it.
Matt Marcarelli, sophomore defensive end, team's leader in sacks, hops on the fumble. Here comes Flacco and Delaware again. All day to throw. Bounces off one would-be tackler. Throws on the move. Big hit. Ball dislodged. Attended there on the pass to Kervin Mashad. Russell Reeves made a huge hit. Jackie Watkins involved as well.
Well, they're trying to go deep here early, like most teams do after a turnover, and really good job of defensive pursuit here. And what about this job here by Reeves? I mean, what a great hit. I've been impressed with the athleticism that Delaware State has. They're around the football, but they're going against a pro-type passer that's just been threading the needle all day.
Nice hit, Jackie Watkins, the junior from Woodbridge, Virginia. 2nd and 10. Over the middle. Mashad wide open. Kervin Mashad to the 35. Delaware moves the ball again at will. 22-yard pickup. Mashad, 22nd player in Delaware history, over 1,000 career receiving yards. He's from Levittown, Pennsylvania. 3rd team All-Colonial Athletic Association pick this year. They've got some weapons now for Joe Flacco. Flags down from every direction. Let's get the call.
We have offside, number 54 on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's Kelly Rouse, a senior from Newark, New Jersey. Was an outside linebacker last year. He's changed positions this season.
Let's see if Delaware gets this ball snapped early. Last play with the win here, or let the quarter run out.
Final seconds, first quarter. And will not get it off. That's the end of the first. First ever meeting, Delaware State, all fighting Blue Hens here at Delaware Stadium in Newark. They've got good reason to be pumped up. Football championship first round game underway. Hens look good through 15 minutes. Delaware, the only FCS team in the last 9 years to average 20,000 fans per game. They've packed them in here, first ever meeting. Delaware State, second quarter underway. Here's Cuff, running loose, second level and beyond. Omar Cuff inside the 15, down to the 10-yard line of the Hornets. Reeves finally tracked him down. Another first down for Delaware, on the move again, Jim Dunn.
Well, he's been running outside with him, and here he takes a step and counters back to the left. Really good job by Agnon blocking the point of tackle. And Reeves continues to be a one-man wrecking crew on defense, making a lot of tackles. Good thing he showed up today, because Delaware State certainly has had a hard time stopping the run, and he's been the only guy that can.
10 carries, 53 yards so far for Omar Cuff, the senior from Landover, Maryland. They'll get it again right up the middle. Trips across the 7-yard line down to the 6. Josh Pope, sophomore will linebacker from Philadelphia, makes the tackle defensively for the Hornets.
Dave, we talked about earlier that this was a really good passing team, but what they're able to do is they can line up and run power football. They can put 2 tight ends in there and run right at you, and that's what you got to do when you get in the red zone.
Cuff has 2 touchdown runs already in this game. Play action. Flacco keeps. Josh Baker on the reception. Triple teamed and nailed. Boy, Watkins put the hammer down, in addition to Ryan Robinson. And Akeem Green defensively for Delaware State with a big hit.
It's an outstanding job by Ryan Robinson on the perimeter. They're playing zone coverage. He lets the outside receiver go and falls back in on Baker for a really good tackle in the open field. Good technique football there by Delaware State.
3 receivers in the game, 2 to the left of Flacco, 1 to his right. It's Aaron Love. Again, Joe Flacco, the senior from just outside Philly, transferred from Pittsburgh. Used to play for Dave Wanstead in the Big East. On 3rd down, Flacco over the middle. Mashad was wide open, couldn't bring it in. Kervin Mashad, great opportunity for another fighting Blue Hen touchdown. They'll bring on the field goal unit and John Strayevsky.
You know, it's hard to really say how hard this guy throws the ball, but if Nolan Ryan was playing quarterback, that'd be the kind of pass we'd see there.
Fastball.
This guy's got some heavy throwing on there. He can really get it in there hard. And it's tough on the receivers because you got to make those plays.
22-yard attempt. Strajewski. Perfect. Now 17 of 19 on the year. Field goal attempts. It's all Delaware against Al Levant's team in the first round. Division I first round championship underway. Part of a 16-team postseason field. Another first round game is coming your way tomorrow noon Eastern on ESPNU. Southern Illinois, Eastern Illinois. All leading to the Division I championship December 14th, Chattanooga, Tennessee on ESPN2 HD. There are 16 teams, 8 automatic qualifiers, 8 at large. 4 seeds, Coach.
How about this game right here now? Come on.
That's a big one.
These teams won 3 out of the last 4 championships, and they're playing each other in the first round. That shows you how strong this field is.
Appalachian State had the big headlines, opening season win at the Big House against Lloyd Carr in Michigan. Coach Carr retiring after the loss to Ohio State this week.
Now, Appy's defense right now is not anywhere near the level it's been when they've been winning championships. And Monty Edwards on offense really good.
Strajewski the kick. Grabbed there by Eric Sewell, one of the upbacks. Helmet pop loose for Delaware State. Not much going right, including the equipment in this one for the Hornets. So the Division I AA or Championship Subdivision poll. There's seed Northern Iowa, top seeded, top ranked. And then got the opening game coming up this weekend.
How about 3 undefeated teams?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
10 through 20. Wrapped up by Yale of the Ivy League. The Ivies only play 10 games. They do not have any postseason. Regular season for the Ivy Leaguers. That Harvard-Yale game, always fun to watch, end of the season. Chris Struther in the game, feature back here replacing Jones. His first carry, and Struther maybe a yard.
Dave, let's see what Delaware State can do. Now they got the wind at their back. They got a pretty good stop there. Held Delaware to a field goal. Maybe helped their morale. We got to find some way to get the ball to McBride. Maybe put him in motion and throw him a screen or do something. But a lot of double coverage on him so far.
He is their star wide receiver, the senior from Chester, Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia. An NFL prospect. Struther again up the middle, buried there. Julian James, the junior from Berkeley, California, makes the tackle along with Matt Marcarelli. It's the Division I football championship opening round game. Delaware State and Delaware meet for the first time ever. Folks here in this state have waited a long time for this matchup. Dave Ryan, the coach, Jim Donnan, Shannon Spake on the sideline. Great to have you with us today from Newark, Delaware. Third down here for the Hornets in their visiting uniforms, 45 miles from their campus against the Blue Hens. First round game. Written trouble over the middle, incomplete. William Griggs, the intended receiver, at about the 45. Really the closest one to that was Anthony Bratton defensively for Delaware. Punting situation again for the Hornets from the MEAC in their first ever postseason appearance. Josh Bright will kick. Glove again, the deep man. Third time today, Delaware State has gone 3 and out. Big dozen turnover for Bright. Good bounce though for the Hornets. That's going to keep on rolling inside the Hens 10. Timeout on the field here in Newark, Delaware. Big trouble for the Hornets in their first ever matchup with Delaware. Great crowd today here in Newark, Delaware. Blue Hens ranked 13th in the nation in this Division I first round championship game. An at-large bid. 16-team postseason field. Winner moves on, loser goes home. Trying to get to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and the national championship game. Jet sweep. Mashad grabs it. Wrestled down at about the 16-yard line. Curvin Mashad had some good speed. 8-yard gain there. Coaches tell us one of the best blockers on this team downfield as a receiver. Played a lot of running back in high school. The hardest worker on the team, the coaches say. MVP in the offense, and that says a lot. If Curvin Mashad is, because Joe Flacco, Aaron Love, and Omar Cuff setting all sorts of records here. 2nd and 2. Cuff the carry. Russell Reeves makes the stop defensively. 4-yard gain, and the Hens will move the chains again here in the second quarter. Omar Cuff, 11th in the nation in rushing at this level. 1st in the nation in scoring all divisions. That's impressive. Gets the carry here. Sniffs out some yardage. Dives across the 25 to about the 27. Again, it's Reeves on the stop defensively. Gain of 4. Coach Omar Cuff, tough to stop for Delaware State.
He really has shown you every kind of run you need to make between the tackles, outside. A power run is built to make people miss, and that's why he's leading the nation in scoring. I mean, he's just an outstanding back. He understands how to read the blocks, and he does a good job of breaking tackles.
1,300+ yards, 4th best ever in Delaware history. Single season. Flags are down. Cup carries again. Could be a free play across the 40 to the 41. Lamont Kennard puts him down here. Natural grass surface at Delaware Stadium. 14-yard gain if it stands.
We're offside on the defense. That penalty will be declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Which it will. More mistakes for the Hornets.
You know, Dave, most spread offenses just run zone blocking and try to get one-on-one. But what I like about this Delaware attack is the fact that they can pull linemen and get people in people's faces. Right here you see just creating a new line of scrimmage here and doing a good job of getting to the second level on these linebackers with their guards pulling around.
Flacco, NFL type prospect, 6'6", 230 over center in this set. Cup, 40, cut back, smacked down hard. Hit there by Josh Pope. Gain of 4 for Omar Cuff. Pope, the sophomore from Philly.
What's been impressive, besides the fact that Cuff is such an outstanding runner, is the way Flacco handles the mechanics of his fakes. He does a really good job of putting the defense under duress because you don't know if he's going to run play action or bootleg, and that takes away that outside element as far as people pursuing.
2nd and 6. Cuff again, right up the middle. Cross midfield. Gets himself to about the 48, which should be another first down for Delaware. Ron Spinner finally tracked him down. Pick up a 7 for Cup, who coaches a candidate for the Walter Payton Award, the top offensive player at this level.
Yeah, that's the Heisman Award for 1AA, and I think the main thing that he's shown is his ability to play in the big games, and today he's doing that. And that's what these voters are looking at, because you're going to pick the #1 player in this division.
Flacco, shotgun, handoff, Cuff. Struggles across the 45 to the 44-yard line. Pick up a 4 again on first down. Kelly Rouse, right defensive end, makes the stop for State. But, Jim, this is exactly what Delaware wants. Chew up some clock, 23-point lead. Anytime you get 4 yards on first down, you got to be pretty happy.
Exactly, and they're going into the wind, too, and they're using their power attack, and they're just getting man-on-man at the point of attack and really running football with a lot of authority.
Couple of cutback. Looked like he stumbled a bit. Got himself another yard to the 42 or so, where it'll be third down. Omar, as we told you, did struggle with a back injury. Limited duty last week, a loss at Villanova. Delaware State defensive coaches want this set to work here. Then a stop on third down. Some kind of positive play here.
Looks like he's going to try to pressure him here, and we'll see if they bail out. But it looks like you're coming with an all-out blitz.
Rashad and Duncan to the right. Love runs the crossing route. Aaron Love grabs at the 40. Hit hard, stumbles forward. He's got another first down. What an effort. On the pickup of 5 by Flacco with 2 men draped all over him to get the ball off.
Are we watching the Pittsburgh Steelers here? Is this Ben Roethlisberger, Big Ben, standing up there under attack? Boy, tremendous job by Flacco. And this Du Bois, it looked like he was going to go down, all-out blitz, and picks up the first down. And very demoralizing to the defense when you got a chance for a big stop and don't make the play.
Blitz game on the corner from Akeem Green. And you and I spoke with Joe Flacco, coach, before the game during warm-ups. We asked him, who's your favorite NFL quarterback? Is it Big Ben? He said, I just like the underdog. I don't really root for anyone. I'm not an Eagles fan, despite the fact he comes from just outside Philly. That's a rarity. Here's Cup bursting through. Omar Cup is going to go. 10-5, touchdown! His third of the day. From 37 yards out, it is all fighting Blue Hens. Movement before Strayavsky can tack on the PAT. Cuff has been fabulous today. 19 carries, 136 yards.
And the dead ball. False start on the defense.
KC Keeler's special teams unit backed up 5. They'll try again here. Strayavsky, the former walk-on. Coach didn't even know his name.
Couldn't pronounce it.
He came in and said, I want a red shirt after my first year. He's got this one. Omar Cup. Nothing short of fabulous today. Not 1, not 2, 3 rushing touchdowns, 36. 136 rushing yards for Cuff, 3 touchdowns, and Coach Don on that drive, 79 of the 92 yards, Omar Cuff.
Yeah, we see a really good job of zone blocking here by Beverly, Byrne, and Agnon, and boy, I tell you, they just get the point of attack and just step right on them, and then miss tackle in the open field. This is a really good example of the kind of speed that Cuff's got. I mean, I didn't really think he was that fast watching the tape, but he runs fast enough to, and boy, what a tremendous job of just pounding the ball for 92 yards there. Only 1 pass on the drive.
Plenty to cheer about here at Delaware. Sewell and Watkins on the deep men to receive here, and different sort of set. They're expecting that kick up front. It's taken by Hudson. He is the main return man, so they actually were 10 yards in front of the other return man. 14-yard return there. For Hudson, let's go back to Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, checking in on Nebraska and Colorado. Joe Gann's first 2 passes of the second half were intercepted. The first one run back for a touchdown. Then Hugh Charles goes in for the Buffs, and Colorado's on top 38-35. Winner becomes bowl eligible. And hotty toddy gosh almighty, look what the Rebels are doing to Mississippi State. It's 14-0 late in the third.
Oh, boy. Will Ed Orgeron's team get the win in the SEC, Reese? That's the question. A big Egg Bowl game taking place on Friday this year. It's been on Thanksgiving so many times in prior years. Deshaun Witten, first down, pressure, eludes the rush, staggers forward, needed midfield for the first down. Nice pickup of 7 there by Deshaun Witten, the quarterback, who needs a lot of offensive production with his Hornets to make this a game and are last stages of the first half. Jim, what has got to happen for Delaware State to make any kind of run here?
Well, he needs some confidence here with some kind of big play. This is a good waste down here. Take a shot here to McBride. I mean, he's up there one-on-one on the outside by himself there to see what they do with it.
He is an NFL prospect. Shahir McBride, number 1 in the visiting jersey. Instead, it's a handoff. It's Kareem Jones. Bust through the secondary to the 40-yard line of Delaware. Nice pickup there. Graves brought him down. 13-yard gain. First down for Kareem Jones and Delaware State.
That's always the dilemma for the defensive coaches. You go ahead 30-0. They put their second unit in, then they make a first down. The first unit comes running right back on the field.
Jones, the team's leading rusher. 671 yards. 2 touchdowns coming into the season. Wow. Delaware State has not moved the ball well. Here is McBride. Finally a catch. Bumped out of bounds by Walters, a freshman at Philadelphia. Shahir McBride, the senior from Chester, Pennsylvania. We told you needs the 1 catch to surpass John Taylor, who is known as the all-time great Delaware State player, went on to become one of the all-decade team players in the 1980s. 3 rings with the 49ers. So McBride following some pretty fancy company there. But can the Hornets involve him in the offense is the question. So far, hasn't happened. 2nd and 8. Witten keeps and is belted. Boy, he got hit hard. Nailed by Anthony Bratton and Graves. You can hear the pads pop. Jim Donner all the way up here.
Well, you know, I like the toughness that Witten is showing, and he's got the ability to read this zone read play. The problem is the perimeter blocking is just not there. Guys are getting off blocks and tackling when he gets outside the tackle box. They got to do a better job with their wide receivers blocking downfield.
Third and 4. Shotgun again for Sean Witten. Four receivers in the game. Pass downfield. Ball is broken up, incomplete. Looking there for Griggs, who is close to stepping out of bounds and coming back in play, which would have been an illegal touch. Walters on the coverage. Good play by the right cornerback of the Fighting Blue Hens.
Walters does a good job of forcing him to the outside and really keeping his eye on the ball at the last second, doing a good job of knocking it down. I like the call by Delaware State. Go for it all. They're still in the 4-down territory. That's the way. You got to take some shots at the end zone and hope you either get an interference call or somebody makes a big play.
Got to do something, right? I mean, you're down 30 to zip. They're going to go for it here. On 4th and 4, they're the numbers this year, 7th in the conference. Quick handoff. Jones does get it. Graves brought him down. He got himself to the 29-yard line. Gain of 5. Chains move for the Hornets, and something positive, Jim, finally for Del State.
Tremendous vision by Jones there. He was running to the right, saw that the line of scrimmage was knocked up there, and look at this great job of just making people miss. A really good job of understanding what your offensive attack's all about. Really good job of breaking back away from the flow.
Under 5 to go, first half. Historic game today from Newark, Delaware. Jones. Blast up the middle. Tripped up by John Higginson, the sophomore from Amherst, Massachusetts, which happens to be the home of the University of Massachusetts Minutemen, one of the top teams at this level. Also in the football championship, Division I, the 16-team field.
You know, even though Delaware State hasn't scored, this is a big, massive offensive line, and the more they lean on you and the more they pound at you, it gets tougher on the defense to stop you.
Led by Adrian Brown, the left tackle, 6'6", 327, Jim. They are big up front. Can they create some holes? Give this guy some time. Pass taken in by Derek McNeil. Scampers along that left sideline. Bumped out of bounds at about the 15. Pickup of 8. McNeil's first catch of the afternoon.
This is a classic example of the spread offense. When it's working, there's so many different elements. They're running inside. Witten's running the quarterback keep, and now they run the flare screen. Early on, they just didn't make enough first downs to really get into their offense, and now they're doing a good job of mixing it up.
Their head coach, Alavan, Atlanta, Dallas, the Niners, Baltimore, Kansas City. Coached all those places as an assistant in the NFL. Tremendous experience. 1st and 10. Went little awkward pitch. Comes to McNeil on a strange-looking play, and Bratton just buries it. Anthony Bratton sniffed that one out and crushes McNeil for a loss.
How would you like to say that you coached Tony Dorsett and Herschel Walker? I mean, that's pretty good. They need him right here on short yardage, but they really mishandled the snap here, but tries to run an option pitch on the perimeter. And again, what we're seeing is really good job by the defensive backs for Delaware, avoiding blockers by the wide receivers and making plays behind the line of scrimmage.
Loss of 1. Second down. Witten keeps. 15. Track down. Graves. Another big play for Charles Graves. As we told you, Alavan, former assistant with the Dallas Cowboys, and there are a couple of legends of the game. Tony Dorsett, of course, at Pitt won a national championship. Hall of Famer, college and pro. Herschel Walker, a tremendous career from Georgia.
Which one you decide to put in the game, and how do you decide which guy to give it to?
Now, we did ask Coach Levan this week, of all the great players he coached, which one was the best? And he tried to get out of it. A couple times he wouldn't answer, so I pressed him on, and he said, gotta be TD, Tony Dorsett. What a winner at every level. 11th play of the drive here. And whistle stop play.
We have timeout Delaware State. Their second. This will be a 30-second timeout.
There's a good example of the offensive coaches on the sideline not liking what they saw by the Delaware defense and calling timeout on the sideline. I like the ability for a coach to call a timeout because, you know, there's so many things can happen with crowd noise and all. You just can't count on the players making that kind of decision.
Let's go back down to Shannon.
Well, that's right. Coach Levan has a very unique philosophy. It is every day you must come prepared and do your best. Yesterday during walkthrough, he told his players you have 30 minutes to be the best that you can be. There's no way that you can improve if you don't go out there and give it your all. And that is the way he approaches every game, every practice, every day. And these guys have really bought into that philosophy, guys.
Yeah, Shannon, alignment, assignment, technique, discipline. The 4 themes for Alavan. And we had a very interesting discussion, Jim, with the coach this week. He said, I really admired working for and with Tom Landry. As you see, his record at Delaware State. Had a brief stint at Division 1A Eastern Michigan as well on an interim basis earlier in his career. Also a longtime assistant at other Division I programs.
Well, he brings instant credibility. The kids can buy into the fact that he's coaching Super Bowls. He knows what it takes to win.
Won a ring with John Taylor, by the way, 1990 49ers. McNeil brings it in, 15, got the good speed. Derek McNeil lit up, boy, Graves just stood him up, sends him down. Derek McNeil thought about going airborne there, and Graves said, I've got you. Flag is down.
Standing by.
Under 2 to go here in our second quarter from Newark, Delaware.
This ref's bringing it over here to the sideline on Pony Express.
Casey Keeler's not pleased at all.
On Delaware.
Delaware assistant coaches are beside themselves. And you saw hats and clipboards and headsets being thrown down there, Jim.
There's no penalty for a sideline warning the first time. The second time is 5 yards, but you know that's the most abused penalty in college football. These guys are out on the hash mark most of the time. Look at them. Not just this team, every team.
Especially the head coach, right? Got to go out there. The deal was short. 4th and short from the 5. Winton dives forward, trying to push the pile. I'm not sure. It's really close. The ball came loose to Matt Marcarelli. That was after the whistles and officials had stopped play.
It looked like Winton didn't get a real good snap there. And that's something that always worries you on a quarterback sneak, is the center's trying to step toward the 1 gap or the A gap. And let's see if he gets this secured here. There you see he bobbled it a little bit. He really didn't get behind his pads. You got to plant that foot and get behind your pads and go to the apex of your protection there. And right there, it's going to be dependent on the spot, but looked like he got it.
Didn't get a great surge, you're right. At the point of attack. Here's the measurement. Just got it, and we mean barely.
That's all you need, barely,
That's
man.
Right. Walter Blair, the former walk-on who's made the switch to Will linebacker. Loves the freedom to roam that position gives him. Did meet with Sean Winton. Alavan's team keeps the ball here. 1st and goal. Trying to get something here at the end of our first half from Newark. Lost it. Ball went airborne. It's recovered by Eric Johnson. Trouble with a handle, but Sean Winton Johnson grabs it out of midair. Fighting Blue Hens, get it right back.
Yeah, I just don't like the call on the goal line. You got 1st and goal. They're running a read play here and trying to react. He makes the right read, but the poor decision as far as securing the ball. And we've seen Johnson down after down today make big plays, and this is the one to keep the shutout in place here. But I really don't like taking any chances unless it's 3rd or 4th down. You got 4 downs there. First time down inside the red zone. Just pound it in there.
Eric Johnson, team's leader in total tackles. His brother Sean, a great career at Delaware, went on to the NFL as well, won a championship with the Hens, 2003. Cuff gets himself to the 20-yard line. Let's check in with Reese again in the studio and see what's coming up at halftime. Reese.
All right, Dave, Mark, and Lou will join me. We'll show you what's going on in Baton Rouge, where Darren McFadden is certainly not contributing to Arkansas's hopes for an upset so far. We'll play the what-if game with Missouri and Kansas and tell you what each has to do if they want to win their Big 12 showdown tomorrow night. And a little Rock Chalk Jayhawk pep talk coming your way from Sweet Lou Holtz.
Reese, we look forward to that. Love the pep talks from the coach. Those are fun.
Yeah, he's got some good material.
A little bit of experience there. Cuff carries again. Waning moments here of our first half. Spinner on the tackle. Now, McFadden, I thought, for Arkansas coach, might have jumped into the Heisman picture, that big 300-yard game a couple weeks back in the SEC, but I don't know now.
And you saw last week Casey Dick throwing the football with extraordinary accuracy. I thought they had a shot today.
Under a minute to go, first half. All fight Blue Hens in the home blues here. 2nd short. Cuff again to the secondary. Spinning through tackles to the 35. Russell Reeves makes the play defensively. Chains move again for Delaware. Our Coke Zero game track. All Hens. Flacco has been outstanding. Cuff has been better. 3 touchdown run, Jim, in the opening half.
Well, he's taking advantage of some good blocking, but he's also run the ball pretty hard himself. I mean, he really has the ability to read blocks, can make people miss in the open field, and hopefully don't have a tough injury here. You always worry about when you see the big linemen down and they're checking their extremities there.
Jackie Watkins, the junior from Woodbridge, Virginia. Sam linebacker for Delaware State shaken up. Watkins, one of their most ferocious hitters. Good sideline to sideline speed. Aggressive versus the run. Catch the NCAA Division I Football Championship live on ESPN2 HD. Coming your way from Chattanooga, Tennessee. The road to Chattanooga to crown the national champ begins 8 Eastern on December 14th. A preview of every NCAA national championship And ticket information, including the 07 NCAA Division I Football Championship, go to NCAAsports.com. NCAAsports.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships.
You mean they were actually going to do it on the field?
That's what we love about this level, Coach. Cuff again, just piling up the yards, pushing the pile forward again. He's stopped by James Romaine.
I believe if I'm Delaware here, I might get into my 2-minute offense. I mean, they got enough time to maybe get a shot and get it down there for a field goal.
And 3 timeouts. 33 seconds. 23 carries, 172 yards on the day for Cuff. Running left. Cut back 50. 45 forward. Omar Cuff. Spun out of bounds at the 35. 19 more yards for Cuff, who's threatening 200 in this opening half. He has been tremendous.
Well, usually you run to the tight end side with his zone, but right here, overshifted coverage to the weak side, and he just shows you his ability to read blocks and take the ball to the field. A really good job again. We keep talking about these Delaware receivers. They do a great job of stalk blocking.
Earlier this year against Richmond, Coach, he touched the ball 52 times. This is not unusual. He is a workhorse. Flacco throwing over the middle. Love, a little bit too tall for Aaron Love, incomplete. At the 13-yard line, Robinson on coverage for the Hornets. Second down.
What's happening with the Delaware receivers? They're getting free releases off the line, so they're threatening the underneath coverage a lot quicker because there's no jams at the point of attack, so they're able to get down and really get in the seams fairly quickly against this Delaware State defense.
16 seconds and 3 timeouts. Shotgun Flacco. Some pressure, steps up. Got the great arm over the middle. Looks there for Agnone. And Robbie can't bring that in at the 15. Incomplete. Agnone did have a touchdown catch to open scoring today in the first quarter.
We're talking velocity here. I'm telling you, this guy has the kind of velocity the pro scouts are looking at. He's got the accuracy, he's got the touch, and he's got the feet and mechanics that just a natural. This guy is really a natural quarterback.
3rd and 10. Cuff. Driving, juking through traffic. Spins ahead. Did get himself to the 27. It's not enough for a first down. With 4 seconds left after Alameo Wilder makes the tackle, timeout called by Delaware.
Interesting selection there with 11 seconds to go. It took about 7 plays. 197 yards.
Wow.
And the real dilemma for Coach Keeler at halftime is how much does he want to use Cuff in the second half? I mean, they got this game in hand. I mean, he's been hurt up a little bit here the last couple of weeks, and even though he's got some staggering numbers, I mean, I got to let him sit in the second half for most of the second. I mean, I might not even let him come out on the field.
Put him in sweats, huh? 197 yards, Coach, in the first half. Not bad for a guy who's told he would never play running back at Delaware. Came here as a walk-on, wasn't even on scholarship. Eventually did get a scholarship as a safety. And his first appearance in the weight room just didn't look very good. Coach Casey Keeler asked his assistants, who gave this guy a scholarship? Who was it? He's not good enough. Well, now, record-setting running back. On 4th down here, 4th and 2, instead of kicking with 4 seconds left, they'll run a play.
I'm surprised Delaware State's not playing a little deeper here.
Flacco, he's got the arm for the end zone. Mashad broke up last second, incomplete. Kevin Mashad has step in the defense. Lamont Kennard. The breakup, but there is a flag down at the 32.
We might have had a roughing the passer here.
I have a dead ball, personal foul, number 75 on the offense.
It's Captain Mike Byrne. And that'll do it for 30 minutes from Newark, Delaware.
For the second half.
Those 30 minutes completely dominated by those guys in the blue. Delaware 30. Delaware State zip at the half. Now let's go to the studio. Halftime report. Reese Davis, Mark May, Lou Holtz.
Be careful what you wish for. Delaware. Halftime in the 1AA playoffs. They look like Michigan produced a lot more offense than the Wolverines did in their last game. Delaware's Omar Cuff going in 30-0 on their cross.
Money can't buy.
You're watching the NCAA Football Championship presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. All Delaware, all the time against Delaware State. First ever matchup between the two schools located 45 miles apart. Here in the first state, Blue Hens dominant. Welcome back, Dave Ryan, the coach, Jim Donnan alongside. We'll hear from Shannon Spake on the sideline in a moment. Omar Cuff, coach, amazing. 25 carries, 199 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The Hornets had no answer.
Well, they really didn't, and I think early on the nerves caught them, and we saw just a tremendous throw to Agnon here that really got the Blue Hens going, and from that point on, their running game was just all power and a lot of running in between the tackles. But you saw the Hornets trying to come back and making some good physical plays, but in the end, it was just way too much. Omar Cuff inside, now he goes outside for a long run for 40 yards and almost 200 yards rushing in the first half. If I'm Keeler, the coach of Delaware, I put this guy on the sideline and get him ready for the second round.
He's out there, fully dressed, coach, right now, ready to go. His career best is
always like to second guess those coaches.
right.
You know that, but
244 yards is Cuff's career high. He's already had his 19th career 100-yard rushing game. Leads all divisions with now 32 rushing touchdowns, 36 for the year. Here's Peter Gartner to kick off from Berlin, Germany, and a junior college in Tucson, Arizona. Mashad grabs it at the goal line. Eludes one tackler. Nailed inside his 10. Good play on special teams by Lennox Norville of Delaware State. Back to Shannon.
Well, Dave, I spoke with head coach Levang right before the halftime. He told me that basically this team needs to come in, State needs to come in. They need to execute on both sides of the ball. They cannot give Omar Cuff and they cannot give Joe Flacco as much time as they have been giving him. Now, on the opposite side, Coach Keeler told his team during halftime, reminded them that State has been in this situation before. They are capable of coming back. They said, we have to be strong, and number one, we have to eat up the clock. Guys?
Casey Keeler, Shannon, tremendous record here at Delaware. His alma mater. Cuff carries, that puts him over 200 yards. Gain of 5. And to finish up, coach, on Shannon's point, Casey Keeler knows about putting teams away. At Rowan University, Division III, a 21-7 playoff record. Coach, he made 5 D3 title games, didn't win a game. But in 03 here, he won a 1AA playoff. So Coach Keeler knows about winning in big situations.
Well, you know, he came right in there the first year, taking over for Tubby Raymond and won the national championship.
Not bad. Cuff again. 15-20. Lowers the shoulder and lowers the boom on the Delaware State defense. Again to the 26, McCoy. The transfer from Syracuse makes the play. First half numbers through 30 minutes, Jim. Yikes, all Hens.
Well, it always looks like these kind of stats when you're ahead 30-0, but the telling stat there were the turnovers, and we don't have all the penalties, but a lot of penalties by the Hornets in the first half really hurt them. A couple big plays called back, particularly the run back on the kickoff by Hudson.
216 yards and counting for Omar Cuff. How many times are you going to carry the ball today? Flacco throws on first down on the far side, looks there for Duncan, incomplete. At the 37-yard line. Coverage from Lamont Kennard, senior from Chester, Pennsylvania, just outside Philadelphia.
You know, Dave, that was an incomplete pass, but it really shows you the velocity that Flacco has. Be able to stand on one hash and throw it to the other on a frozen rope. I mean, this guy has got all the throws. You know, one of the things you come in, you're always a little apprehensive about watching a guy on this level, thinking maybe the competition is not good enough and he's getting a lot of stats. This guy can play at the next level. There's no question.
Very interesting story, certainly, about Joe Flacco. Started his career at Pittsburgh. Cuff runs right. Runs out the back of a defender and staggers ahead to about the 29. Russell Reeves brought him down. In terms of the Flacco story, there is an injured Delaware player down for a moment here. 2 years the backup for Flacco.
Looks like Benson's down here.
Greg Benson, left tackle. And Joe Flacco behind Tyler Palco. So he transferred from Pittsburgh to here in Delaware. He had been recruited by teams like UMass and Delaware at this level when he was in high school in suburban Philadelphia. Opted to go to the Big East route at Pittsburgh. Wasn't getting the playing time. He wanted out, and Dave Wanstead would not release him from his scholarship.
Well, you know, that's always a tough situation for the coach because, you know, it's a two-way street. You make a commitment to the school, and the coach makes a commitment to a young man to give him a scholarship if he's not playing. You know, a lot of guys are on scholarship and don't end up playing. So I think in this case, he didn't get his release. But I guarantee you one thing, I would think that Coach Wanstead likes to see this guy playing over there for Pitt today.
6 NFL scouts who were watching Joe Flacco in a game earlier this year in the CAA against James Madison. 5 came to watch him against Richmond. And we talked to Joe today during team warm-ups about what it's like to play in front of the NFL scouts. And he seemed very casual about it, very soft-spoken. He said, I'm used to it by now. If they like me, great. I can't wait for the next level. I want to be a bit heavier. I'd like to be about 245 pounds.
You know, his family, only his mother and dad came to the game. The rest of them are watching on ESPN.
That's right.
So let's make sure we don't say anything too bad about him there and get his family mad.
But he told us that he's going to have a late, belated Thanksgiving dinner tonight at his aunt's house in Jersey. So get ready. He's coming up. 3rd down, pressure from behind, sensed it. Got away from the rush, throws upfield. Mashad brings it in, great catch, Kirvin Mashad. Escapability for Joe Flacco, 21-yard gain. Green on coverage.
Well, we can talk about escapability, but I like field presence here. One of the things we talked about on the Home Depot deal we're going to mention in a little bit is about pressure from the outside, and we get it from the Hornets here, but what a tremendous throw and awareness of where your receivers are supposed to be. This guy has got all the throws, but he really has the poise that's necessary to not only play at this level, but play professional football. You got to be able to make good plays, calling plays and everything, but when the pressure's on, to be able to do the things he's done today, very impressive.
Here's Phillip Thaxton, the backup to Omar Cuff, so he finally gets his first carry of the game. Rouse and Spinner make the play. Injured player here, and it is Thaxton who's down. But quickly up, back down to Shannon.
Yeah, that's right. Talking about Joe Flacco. We spoke with head coach Keeler earlier this week, and he said that this kid has all the characteristics of a great football player. He said if he doesn't make it to the NFL, I don't think I'll ever coach one. And, of course, you talked about Flacco being very concentrated on the field as we go to play.
2nd and long here, Shannon. Flacco rolling. Ball was broken up, nearly picked off. Reggie McCoy got a piece of the ball intended for Kirvin Mashad. Back down to Shannon.
Well, that's right, Dave. He's very focused on the field. Once the game starts, he is tuned in. But he told me before every game, he takes a moment, he looks around, looks up in the stands, looks at all the fans, and really takes it in, really appreciates where he is and how far he's come.
We talked today, Shannon, with Todd McShay from Scouts Inc., one of our ESPN NFL draft experts, who thinks that Joe Flacco could be a second-day selection, maybe as high as a 3rd round. Could be first day as well. NFL draft coming up next April. 3rd and long. Again, the field presence. Throws in the move. Duncan brings it in. 39-yard line. Guess what? Just ahead of the marker. It's going to be another first down. Kennard bumped them out of bounds. This kid is something else.
Well, what we've seen the last 3 plays, ability to not only make one throw, but make every throw. And right there, he squares his shoulders up, throwing to the left. A tremendous job of catching the ball by Duncan. And let's make sure that we don't get too overwhelmed with this, because the bottom line is, the reality is, this guy is the real deal. I mean, he's making every play necessary to keep his team on 3rd down in particular. He's been awesome today.
Coach Keeler telling us he reminds him of his former roommate at Delaware, Scott Bruner. Cuff breaks tackles. Omar Cuff, 2nd level and beyond. Inside the 20 to the 17. Romaine finally brought him down, but not before another Blue Hen pickup of 21 yards. Cuff nearing a career high.
Well, you're seeing a situation where the Hornets are trying to put some outside pressure, and when you break the line of scrimmage and don't have anybody to second level, you're going to make a lot of big runs, and this is what we see here with Cuff continuing to stay low and keep his balance. He continues to impress me every time he carries the ball.
21 carries, Coach, for 240 yards. He's 4 away from his career best set against William & Mary this year. Here he goes, looking for the career number. Spinning, I think he's got it. Yep. All the way down to the 12-yard line. 5 more yards, a career best for Omar Cuff with 3 touchdown runs today.
You know, before the game, I had a chance to talk to Ted Kimsky, who was the offensive coordinator for a long time here under Tubby Raymond at Delaware. And he had Scott Bruner and asked him to compare the two because they're similar characteristics. He feels like Flacco's a little ahead at this time in his college career. And I think that's a great testimony to this kid's ability because we saw what Bruner was able to do, not only here at Delaware, but on the next level.
Yeah, had a great NFL career. Here he goes again, Omar Cuff. Inside the 10. And needed the 7 for another first down for first and goal. He's just shy of that. Pickup of 4. It'll be 3rd and short. Coach, in that game against William & Mary, set a school record with 7 touchdowns, along with his 244 yards, the prior career best for him before today. 6 of those were rushing touchdowns. How about that?
He's got more touchdowns than anybody in college football, any level. This guy has set the record this year a lot in this league, but right now he's going for another one today here. Watch out, man. I've been guessing about this option. Let's see if they run it once today.
3 tight ends in the game. Matt Ruggiero, the up back. It's Cuff again. Up the middle he goes. Inside the 5. Rolls forward. Drags tacklers. Down to the 2. It'll be 1st and goal for the Fighting Blue Hens. Alameo Wilder, the junior from Baltimore, finally made the play.
Well, whoever they play in the next round, watch out for them running the option on the goal line. Because I haven't gotten that one right today, Dave. But again, we really see the power of this offensive line just coming off the football in unison and creating a new line of scrimmage.
1st and goal. Whistles will halt play here.
Timeout, Delaware State. They're first.
Hornets exercise their first play stoppage for Alavan here in this second half, down by 30. And the first ever matchup between these two schools, located just 45 miles apart. If you're thinking about the playoff scene, Jim, you mentioned that. Winner of this one looks like it'll be Delaware. Takes on the winner of Northern Iowa, the top seed and #1 ranked team, and UNH, New Hampshire, with a great quarterback we'll tell you more about. That's a game in Cedar Falls, Iowa tomorrow night, first round also. Let's take a look at the Home Depot coaching adjustments for our game today.
Well, we talked about getting more pressure on Flacco, and even though they came with it, his ability to just stand tall in the pocket. We reminded everybody about how he's like Ben Roethlisberger, but his ability to just jump around and then know where everybody is. Really good job by the Hornets coming out the second half trying to put pressure on him, but this kid, his ability to run in the open field and make the plays and keep the drives alive has been spectacular.
Cuff again, touchdown Delaware. Given this overflow crowd in Newark, plenty to cheer about. 4th rushing score of the day for the biggest Fighting Blue Hen of the afternoon.
Well, you talked to your team about the first 5 minutes of the game in the second half, and Casey Keeler's team started out the game with a touchdown in the first 5 minutes. They come out in the first possession of the second half and march the ball 90 yards.
Strajewski splits the uprights. Well, Omar Cuff's got a while ago to tie his career best for touchdowns. That was 7, as we said, against the Tribe of William & Mary to begin the season. For today, it's all Hens. First game for a Delaware team against the MEAC squad since '84. That was a win over Morgan State 76-zip. Might have that kind of game coming again here. Rivalry Week presented by Remington coming up tonight on ESPN 2. 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Boise State led by star running back Ian Johnson. Hawaii, the Warriors for June Jones, led by Colt Brennan. Big matchup in the WAC. What do you think, Coach?
And BCS implications here. Both these teams are knocking on the door. You saw what Boise State was able to do against Oklahoma last year. So we'll see what Hawaii can do tonight with Colt Brennan. If Brennan plays, I like Hawaii.
Lerone Moore on the short kick from Strajewski. Struggles out to about the 38. JT Laws on special teams for Delaware makes the stop. Brennan and the Heisman. I don't know. I mean, he was right up there, but he was injured. Last couple of games been shaken up. Not playing full games despite the fact they're undefeated. Probably not enough for Colt Brennan.
Yeah, he needed to have some overwhelming stats, although he's getting ready to break the all-time record for touchdown passes. But he needed to really have some lights-out stats. And I think right now Tebow's stats are overwhelming. You know, for a guy in the SEC to get over 20 rushing touchdowns and 29 passing touchdowns, just incredible.
Last year, so interesting because Troy Smith of Ohio State led the Buckeyes to that undefeated regular season, and it was obvious runaway winner really from week one that he would take it. McNeil on a little screen pass, bumped out of bounds, short pickup for Delaware State. Tim Prindle makes the play after a 3-yard pickup for the Hornets.
I'm going to be interested to see tomorrow in that Missouri matchup with Kansas there, with Reesing playing quarterback and Chase Daniel. One of these guys can step it up, have a big game, and get right in the Heisman race too.
Huge game at the Big 12, huh?
Yeah, who would have thought that this summer that we'd have Kansas and Missouri right up there playing for not only this game, but maybe BCS championship.
Undefeated Jayhawks. Best season in school history, no question about that. Been fun to watch. McNeil again, receiving end of the pass from Deshaun Witten. Walter Blair, former walk-on, helps sandwich McNeil out of bounds. Nice pickup, though, for Delaware State. Way down in this one. Omar Cuff has run for 4 touchdowns today, part of a Delaware 37-0 lead.
Looks like Doug Sam's offensive coordinator for the Hornets has come out with the idea of maybe trying to spread them out a little more and throw some flare passes to maybe open up the inside, which that's what they're trying to do right here.
Jones on the belly play. Knocked down by Eric Johnson, the junior from near Rochester, New York. Johnson, another walk-on. We mentioned his brother Sean was a great star here, defensive end on the 03 1AA team for Delaware. And Sean and his dad went into the office of Casey Keeler and said, look, are you going to give Eric a scholarship or what? At that point, Eric was 190 pounds, undersized for 1AA linebacker. The coach said, no, he's got to earn it. I don't care who he is. Who he has. Second and long pass for McBride, well overthrown. Walter's on coverage again. How about that, Coach? The walk-ons, guys you get as a head coach, you're not sure.
Here's one of the real things that's perplexing for a head coach in 1AA. The fact that you've only got 64 full scholarships, so you got to break them up. You know, you don't really have a lot of full scholarship guys. The better they get, the more, you know, like I gave Troy Brown a full scholarship pretty quickly, but, you know, you got to spread them out, and I think that's something that Coach Keeler's done well. And player development is essential on this level. Lifting weights, getting better, getting stronger. And what a great play by Macarelli coming off the edge here.
Matt Macarelli, big-time play as he nails Deshaun Witten. Macarelli, the sophomore from Fort Pierce, Florida. Ball was dislodged for a moment. Witten, slow to get up, did recover his fumble. Punting situation again for Delaware State.
Outstanding swim technique off the edge by Macarelli. I mean, we know that he's got the speed and quickness off the edge, but he also has the power to overwhelm. And when you can rush 3 and defend the pass with 8, you're in pretty good shape defensively.
Third team all-conference, Matt Macarelli. A 400-pound bench presser and runs a 4.640. The coaches here tell us they're very pleased with his potential. Very young defense for Delaware. Aaron Love run into by his own man. Ball was not touched, though. Grabbed there by Akeem Green on a wild play. Let's go back down to Shannon.
Well, that's right here with Tubby Raymond. For 36 years, you prowled this sideline, 300 wins with this team. Now, it's a historic day because Delaware State have never met Why do you think that this game has never taken place?
Well, I'm sure there are a lot of reasons. Maybe you're watching one of them right now, but there's the competition between two universities 45 miles apart. There's some people felt that we just should have one university and not two, and it just went on and on from there.
Now, what do you think it means to the state as a whole? A lot of people waiting for this game for a long time.
Well, obviously, there's an awful lot of excitement about it. I for one, am sorry that it's not a closer game. I think it got out of hand in the first quarter with the wind advantage that Delaware had and accepted with the coin toss, which obviously is a good move. But it just went on from there. I think maybe the crowd, a lot of things the ambiance has upset Delaware State. Anyway, here we are, 37-0.
Well, I got to ask you, I know that you're an artist, that you have painted all of your players, even your coach. We got a shot of Coach Keeler's painting that you did. When did you start this tradition?
Well, I've done that for a long, long time, and it's just been a lot of fun. It's one of those things you don't get in trouble with. It passes the time, but you don't get in trouble. I'm doing some political portraits now in the state, and having a lot of fun with it.
Now, how did you select the players that you would draw?
Well, we take seniors that started one or more games, and hopefully some that we can find funnies with and kid them with. But as I say, it's been wonderful.
All right, Tubby, we'll let you go. We also got to wish you happy birthday. Big birthday last week to you, so happy birthday.
Well, thank you. It's been nice being with you.
You too. Back to you guys.
All right, Shannon, thanks. Happy birthday to Coach Raymond. What a legend here in Newark. Coached from 1966 to 2001. Cuff running over tacklers. Runs past the 20 to the 21. Another first down. His huge day continues. Fabian Dunn made the tackle. So as we mentioned, some of the sketches and drawings and paintings, that one of Coach Casey Keeler.
That's what he's playing there.
That's right.
A little bit different there, but let's say this about Tubby Raymond. This school had 3 coaches in the Hall of Fame. Bill Murray, who went on to be an outstanding coach at Duke. Davey Nelson preceded the coach here in Tubby Raymond. And now Tubby Raymond, I had a chance to coach against him a couple of times. He used to kid us about having the playoffs as a Marshall Invitational because we got to play all these games at home. And what a great record these guys have. And all of these guys are involved in the rules committee, too, so that helps them. They know the rules a lot better than everybody else.
That's right. Coach Keeler can stand by himself. Third place, flag down. Cuff runs again. His huge day continues. Before that play, 37 carries, 284 yards. And you know Coach Raymond would love to have a running back like that. When he was in charge here, a Hall of Fame inductee, College Football Hall of Fame in South Bend, Indiana in 2003. He played at Michigan for Fritz Chrysler.
And that's why these helmets look like this.
That's right.
You know, the other thing about Tubby Raymond, he was kind of the first guy to really run the wing T. Davey Nelson ran it, but they expanded it and ran some phases of the spread offense, incorporated with all the misdirection, but also ran the wing T. Very innovative coach, and his son actually was a Philly fanatic, so you can see the personality that Tubby had in that deal.
Creative and artistic, right?
Hey, that's right.
Sunday punted here at Delaware for his dad, Tubby. He became the first ever Philly fanatic between 1979 and 1993. Paxton is in the game now offensively. Here he goes. His first ever carry went for 68 yards and a touchdown against Westchester, Division II game earlier this season. First ever Delaware running back to score in his first ever carry as a freshman. Picks up 5 there. The backup for Cuff. Omar is out with 284 yards.
You know, Dave, this is a demoralizing defeat for Delaware State, but at the same time, they've had an incredible year to go undefeated in the MEAC and to make the playoffs for the first time. Just caught Flacco on a hot day, and Cuff, they just haven't been able to get him down, but tremendous year for Delaware State.
Paxton again. Rumbles toward the 40. Needed the 41 for the first down just shy. That back to Reese Davis.
All right, guys, #1 team in the land, LSU, hosting Arkansas in their traditional Friday after Thanksgiving game. Darren McFadden, who fumbled the opening kickoff and fumbled the second one, too, though Arkansas got the second one back, goes in for a touchdown. The Hogs in the right, Reverend up by 1, and Colorado beating up on Nebraska 58-41 late in the fourth.
Gotta wonder, as Reese mentioned earlier from the studio, last game for Coach Callahan, potentially at Nebraska. He's certainly been on the hot seat. Thaxton lit up. Boy, was he slammed down hard.
You know, Russell Reeves, this guy should get the red badge of courage today. He's made every play that he's had a chance to make. You see him shooting through the A-gap right here and pad on pad. I'm telling you, this is an outstanding player that really has come and had, you know, he can always remember this first game. He was outstanding on defense for the Hornets.
Coaches feel when we spoke to them this week, an NFL type. Russell Reeves from Mechanicsville, Maryland, team's leader in total tackles. 7 tackles for Reeves today. Perhaps lone bright spot for the Hornets. 4th and 1. Whistle stop play. Delaware takes a timeout. Just under 4 to go in our third quarter from Newark. Reason to smile for Omar Cuff, because he's had a monster day. 288 yards rushing. A career high there, and 4 rushing touchdowns. The reason Delaware's got this huge lead.
He's trying to get him to put him back in, but I promise you, I don't think he's going to persuade him.
You said he wouldn't come out in the second half.
I wouldn't have brought him out, but, you know, I'm not coaching anymore either.
School record as well for Omar Cuff, single game. I told you about the 7 touchdowns he produced earlier this year against William & Mary back in August season opener. That's a school record for total touchdowns in a game. He has been tremendous. And looking down the road, New Hampshire, Ricky Santos, their great quarterback, Northern Iowa.
Well, we were just seeing Darren McFadden, explosive back for the Arkansas Razorbacks, the way he can take over a game with his speed. I think he's a lot bigger back than Cup, but certainly both of them mean a lot to their teams.
Short yard situation. Thaxton gets the carry and gets the first down across the 40. Pick up a 2 for Philip Thaxton. Fabian Dunn made the stop defensively. Keon Hendricks is shaken up. That's bad news here. The starting center for Delaware is down. First team All-CAA this year. A former walk-on who got a scholarship before last season and has become one of their top offensive linemen. Coach, you hate to see this. A big lead and a key O-lineman hurt.
Well, earlier in the game, Byrne got a little stinger there, and we also saw Benson go down. So got to be a little worrisome to the Delaware attack to know that 3 of your linemen have got some kind of injury in this game.
Starter left guard last year, Keon Hendricks, also played lacrosse, basketball, track and field.
You like that lacrosse now?
I got to get it in there.
You got to explain it to me, man.
37-0 game. Well, every coach will tell you there are blemishes, there are problems to look at from a win, even this convincing, and that's going to be a big one right there. Keon Hendricks, starting center.
Let's see what the exchange is like here, too. I mean, new quarterback center exchange.
Thaxton the carry. Philip Thaxton, a freshman from Yorktown, Virginia, still battling. A tremendous effort. Ryan Robinson made the play. There is Hendricks from Baltimore, a biology major here at Delaware. And the coaches really feel he's an NFL-type guy.
He's the center, and he's blocking right here at the point of attack. He gets undercut. Boy, that's terrible. I mean, backside just makes you sick to see a kid really in there fighting his guts out and get hit from the backside. And hopefully it's not too bad, but that didn't look good.
We'll have Shannon get us a report on Keon Hendricks as soon as possible on the Delaware sideline. Thaxton runs right. Phil Thaxton, 30. A cutback, 25. On his feet inside the 20. Wrestled down at the 17 by Josh Pope. 17 more yards for the Fighting Blue Hens. And the chains move again.
Another good example of a tackle tight end on the perimeter there. Byrne and Agnon doing a great job. And that makes a difference who's running the ball for the Blue Hens. They're making yardage, positive yards all day.
Thaxton, his first game against Westchester, we told you about, had a huge afternoon. 12 carries, 177 yards, including that 68-yarder. First time he touched the ball for a touchdown. Slammed down there after a very short pickup. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Hit by Russell Reeves. who's had a big game defensively for the Hornets.
You know, Reeves is taking this personally. I mean, he's lined up in the middle. That time he lined up on the outside, came on a crash stunt, and was able to disrupt things in the backfield. I mean, I think he's just getting mad, lining up wherever he wants to, and said, hey, I'm going to make the next play.
Oh, baby, look at those numbers. 506 yards. Flacco, play action, rollout, fires. Mashad brings it in at the 1. Kirvin Mashad makes the catch, just shy of another Delaware touchdown, 16 more yards. It'll be 1st and goal.
Well, when you're able to run the football as effectively as they have, this is where the naked bootlegs show up. And this is the first really poor pass that Flacco's thrown. He underthrew it a little bit, but still it was good enough to get the big completion.
Paxton stays in the game. Philip Paxton lunging forward. No indication he crossed the goal line. It'll be short, 2nd and goal. Eric Sewell makes the stop, middle linebacker for Delaware State. '15th play of the drive coming up. 96 yards. Delaware is churned out here. Latter stages, 3rd quarter, under 90 ticks to go in the 3rd. Paxton up the middle. Touchdown! His 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. The freshman gets in on the act. It's not only Omar Cup who could score a touchdown today for the Hens, and the lead expands.
Well, what's impressive in a game that you're really running away with it is the fact that Delaware's come out here the 2nd half and had 2 massive drives. I mean, we can't see Delaware State even on the field offensively because Delaware's keeping the ball away from it.
First team all-league pick, John Strayevsky, has another PAT. Adds to the Delaware lead. Saxton's first of the game. He and Omar Cup get together and say, you know what, man? Together we have 5 touchdowns on the ground. And that's why we're about to advance as we look at the top half of the bracket. 16 teams in the 07 Division I championship. The winner of this one takes on the winner of UNH, led by their great quarterback, Ricky Santos, who, by the way, was the co-CAA Offensive Player of the Year with Joe Flacco, and Northern Iowa, #1 ranked and top seed.
Yeah, undefeated, and really impressive in New Hampshire. Chip Kelly left and took over the OC job for Oregon, and New Hampshire continues to be good. Had a big win over Marshall in 1A against a 1A opponent. You know, we're seeing down here, we're seeing some in-state rivalries of Southern and Eastern Illinois playing each other, and then Massachusetts playing Fordham. But here's the big game of the day, I think. Appalachian State and playing against at home against James Madison. I think these two teams have been the dominant teams over the last couple years, and it should be a real shootout game. Wofford won the conference. They actually beat Appalachian State, but they got to travel to Montana. And I can tell you this, Dave, Montana's got as good a home field advantage as anybody in the world. I'm not talking about America, in the world.
I've been up there for games, Coach. It's something. Fans are right on top of the field. I've seen them win playoff games.
Never cold out there either.
This time of year, you got snow and ice, a big factor. 8 at-large teams, 8 automatic qualifiers in the Division I championship. Hudson lost the handle, goes back for the rock. And he's going to fall back, way back to the 21. That's the progress for Brandon Hudson. Tim Prindle is a great player as a starting linebacker. He offensively makes the play on special teams. Let's go way back. First game of the season. Amani Edwards, great quarterback for Appalachian State. Yeah, they won in the big house, 34-32. Maybe the best upset, biggest upset in college football history. Coach, a lot of people have said that.
Well, Jerry Moore's done a terrific job over the years, won 2 straight championships now. Couldn't come to a finer guy. I know this summer we were at a golf tournament. I introduced Jerry to Lloyd Carr, and I said, hey, Lloyd, you better watch out. Jerry's coming up there with a good football team.
And
definitely it was a big surprise, but they won, and they won convincingly.
Strutter, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Graves the first to get to him. Chris Strother loses 2. Eric Johnson also involved in the stop, the former walk-on who has put on enough weight after the appeal from his dad and brother Sean, a great player and NFL draft pick out of Delaware, won the 03 1AA championship. Asked Coach Keeler, come on, you got a scholarship, my brother. Got to earn it first, son. And Johnson's done that. Put on the weight he needed. He's up from 190 to about 220 pounds. And with 36 to go, third quarter. Winton play action. Screen pass set up for Strother. 20 to 25, breaks the tackle outside the 30 to about the 32. He needed that for the first down. He's close, but maybe a little bit shy on that screen play. Higginson the tackle for Delaware.
You know, Dave, when I first took over the Marshall job, and I talked about earlier in the broadcast about 64, we're getting ready to have a snap here. Let's go. I'll give it to you after the quarter break.
That's right. We'll talk more about that. Coach won a 1AA championship, Huntington, West Virginia, for the Thundering Herd back in 1992. He knows of what he speaks. When we come back, we'll talk with the coach about that very subject. Delaware, 1 quarter away from the second round. That does not look good. There's Keon Hendricks, starting center for Delaware, off on crutches to the Fighting Blue Hens locker room. He's a junior out of Baltimore, and of course they want him back in the lineup next week when they take on either Northern Iowa or New Hampshire. Chris Strother up the middle for 5 yards. Back down to Shannon.
Well, Dave, we've talked all day about how historic this game is, the first time these two teams have met. I'm here with Nate Beasley, who actually played on both sidelines. He played for State and for University of Delaware. State in 71, Delaware in 73 to 75. You really have been waiting your whole life for this game. What was this morning like for you on your way to the stadium?
In a way, it was like a dream come true. Because, as you say, I've waited over 30 years for this to occur. In 71, when I played at Delaware State, we looked forward to or imagined what it would be like to play the university. And then as a Blue Hen, we often thought about the possibilities of playing Delaware State. So for it to actually become a reality, it was really a dream. And then it doesn't matter the outcome of the score or anything. The fact that the two teams met is what's really important.
Yeah, you did say that you wish it would have been a little bit of a better game at this point. But the important thing was that it happened in the first place. What does it mean to the community? I mean, everyone here is so excited. But what does this mean to the state of Delaware and the community?
I think the state as a whole benefits from this experience. You know, it's a unique experience that occurs in multiple other states across the country. And here in Delaware, we deserve to have this type of opportunity on a regular basis.
Now, Nate, I got to ask you who you're rooting for, but it's a little obvious by the hat. Why are you rooting for Delaware today?
Well, I played for University of Delaware for 3 years and Delaware State for just 1. So obviously, my affections are with the University of Delaware right now.
All right, we'll let you get back to the game. Back to you, Dave.
All right, Shannon, thanks. So he's a Fighting Blue Hen today anyway, which is the right side of the scoreboard, that's for sure. A minute in, fourth quarter, Shahir McBride, nowhere to go. Anthony Walters put him down as soon as he had that pass from Vashawn Winton. Interesting story with Nate Beasley, their coach. Played for 2 teams. And it is sort of a battle with yourself. Who do you root for in a day like this?
Well, you know, obviously, I'm very impressed with the sincerity that Nate had about the reality of this game coming to fruition. I think the main thing for him is the fact it's something that he, as a resident of this state, has a unique perspective because he played on both sides of the ball and he knows what it's like for both teams to you know, want to play each other. And I think today certainly is the right step in the right direction.
3rd and long. Hornets trying to move the chains. Some contact upfield, looking there for Dennis Savage. At the 40, no flags. Punting situation again for Josh Weider and Delaware State. This is not the only in-state game, Coach, by the way, this weekend in the Division I championship. Eastern Illinois takes on Southern Illinois tomorrow at Carbondale. Last year, Southern Illinois took on Eastern. Richmond took on Hampton in 2005 in the first round. So at this level, there have been plenty of other in-state matchups.
Well, they like to...
timeout, Delaware. Their second. This will be a 30-second timeout.
the committee likes to schedule games within proximity if they can. Certainly they get the seeded teams in a situation, but travel's a problem. I mean, they got a rule anybody under 400 miles has to bus to a game, and with this many teams playing, it becomes a cost situation where they try to limit the cost. But the main thing is just on the field, this game, the championship decided, and I really don't think it takes away from the kids year in from the standpoint of how much class they miss. They usually play the games on Saturday, so they leave on Friday, and it's just like going to a bowl game. I mean, you got 3 weeks of practice for a bowl game. The difference is you play every week instead of practicing.
Wright will punt to John Height. First time he'll return a kick. Number 14 for Delaware. He'll stay away from this short kick. Good Hornet roll, though. All the way down to the 22.
Let's go now, man.
The Fighting Blue Hens, they'll take over with a huge lead. Close it in on a first-round win. Round 2 for Joe Flacco next week. $44-0. Plenty for the Fighting Blue Hen fans here in Newark to be happy about. They are en route to round 2 of the Division I football championship. Next level up, big game coming up in the ACC tomorrow, noon Eastern time. Rivalry week presented by Remington. Virginia Tech, the Hokies, and Frank Beamer go head-to-head with Algebra and UVA. 8th and 16th ranked teams in the nation. Jim, how do you see that one?
Yeah, it's going to be a defensive battle. Both teams outstanding on defense. Whichever quarterback can step up and make the biggest plays between Sewell and, if Glennon starts or, whoever plays quarterback for Virginia Tech, it's going to be a big game.
Thaxton lost it. Picked up by Reggie McCoy, who runs in for a Delaware State touchdown. 17-yard return for the transfer from Syracuse. Finally, some points for the Hornets.
Well, this is a deal here where you got a new quarterback and the ball exchange, but it looked like a clear exchange, and good for Delaware State. I mean, get on the board here some way. Reggie McCoy, good job.
Came in with 46 tackles, 4 tackles for loss and a sack. Here's Peter Gartner, a native of Berlin, Germany, who learned about American football, as he told us before the game today, watching on TV and playing in clubs. Kicking JC ball as well at Tucson, Arizona before coming to Dover, Delaware. It's still all hands today.
The NCAA Division I Football Championship, presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car, is brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up.
Finally, something for Delaware State to cheer about today. 44-7 game. Reggie McCoy scoops up a fumble from Philip Thaxton, runs it back 17 yards. Jim Donna for the lone score of the day for the Hornets.
Well, it doesn't look like a real powerful hit here, just bad ball security, and Johnny on the spot. Reggie McCoy, he'll always remember he scored the first touchdown for Delaware State against Delaware.
Mashad grabs it at the 18. Kirvin Mashad drives his body through traffic to the 36, 17-yard return. Good play there defensively by Eric Sewell, too. He caused that fumble. That was scooped up by Reggie McCoy for the touchdown. There's Sean Scanlon. He's a redshirt freshman from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, just outside Philadelphia. About 45 minutes from Philly or so here in Newark, Delaware. And he'll get some time now. And Joe Flacco, bound for the NFL in April, and the second round of this tournament is done for the day.
Well, he had a tremendous game throwing the ball, but really ran this attack at the line of scrimmage where he was able to check off, get him in the best play. When you're running with that many yards like Tech did today, your quarterback's doing a good job of calling plays at the line of scrimmage.
Jared Bradley gets the carry here.
Well, here's his first touchdown. Looked like he was, caught behind the line. He hits Agnon for a touchdown pass. Then he showed his arm strength up the gut here. And now we're going to see some of his really good crossing routes, the way he can hit people accurately to Mashad. And then this one right here is the play of the day as far as I'm concerned. Looked like he was sacked, but it made the play, and we're going back live now.
Bradley, off right tackle. Hope pulls him down, gets himself to about the 44, needs the 46 of Delaware for another first down gain of 7. And Flacco, you and I, Coach, a chance to meet Joe before the game, seemed relaxed, at ease with the matchup.
Flacco is unflackable.
There's Mark.
Flappable is what I just said CC. I know the words. I just wanted to be smart.
Mark is the backup to Keon Hendricks at center for Delaware, so we'll keep an eye on that. Try to get a report from Shannon before we're off the air today on Keon Hendricks' status. Bradley, delay handoff. Reeves drills him. Russell Reeves has got 10 tackles. Just like that, here's the update from Shannon.
Yeah, that's right. You saw Keon Hendricks being taken off the field. He went off on crutches. They have taken him inside. They're going to evaluate him, x-ray him. The team has told me that it is right leg. They're going to take some x-rays, and the team has told me that he will not be back on the field today.
So Chiarella will come in to replace him. He's a Maryland native at 6'3", 290. He is a senior, but Hendricks, as we talked about, the all-league performer. First punt of the day for Stuart Kenworthy, yet another former walk-on here at Delaware. He has become a first-string player. Whistle stop play before he can get it off. Punt was partially blocked, but it won't count because we had whistles first.
Timeout, Delaware. Their second. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Dave, of all the positions in college football, I mean, quarterback certainly, we saw what happened when Dennis Dixon went down the other night, how it affected the play of Sam Bradford not playing for Oklahoma and Dennis Dixon for Oregon. But the center position, if you go back to USC this year, they had two different centers miss some games this year. And I tell you, going into the playoffs, going in with a new guy there, that's going to be a different situation for this Delaware team next week if the first-team guy can't play. That's a really tough situation, particularly get hurt when your team's ahead 44-0. That really puts them in a situation where the one good thing about the injury, this kid can come in here and play the fourth quarter, get some experience, and going into next week's game. But center quarterback exchange, boy, I tell you, that's something that always worried me when your first-team center went down.
So Hendricks, the junior out of Baltimore, and Coach, you know, they make so many checks on the offensive line in terms of defensive schemes, what they see from linebackers, safeties, the secondary, and the defensive front.
Plus
shot experience at center. Yeah, exactly. Kenworthy's punt. Hudson, the fair catch at the 20. Back to Reese Davis in the studio. Oh, Reese. Trouble there for Les Miles' team. All the gambles that Les made earlier in the year, they all paid off, except that one loss, of course, to Kentucky. 7-6. Can the McFadden's, as Reese would say, take care of LSU today? That would be huge. Here's Struther to carry. And a tough loss again for Ole Miss. And Ed Orgeron, you and I know him well, one of the great guys of college football. Head coach for the Rebels. Another loss. They're winless in the SEC. Congratulations, Sylvester Croom and Miss State going bowling this year.
Well, I give them a lot of credit. 7-4. I mean, everybody early in the year thought this team was going to have a hard time. They beat Alabama and Auburn. Big road win at Auburn. And, you know, he along with Mark Rick right up there for Coach of the Year in the SEC.
I think if you listen hard enough, you can hear the cowbells ringing right now from Starkville, can't you? Big win in the Egg Bowl. That's a rivalry game. Struther, screen pass, good catch in traffic. Rays brought him down at the 34. Chains will move here for Delaware State. Under 10 to go. In a one-sided first-round game will be a victory for Delaware. And they'll go on to the second round.
Yeah, one of the things everybody talks to you about getting to the games, and, you know, Starkville's a hard place for the opponent to where you stay, and we stayed about 60 miles from there one time, and we're driving into the game, and the door fell off our bus riding into the stadium. Now, fortunately, nobody fell out of the bus, but you always talk about you got to get to the game. I didn't think we were going to get there.
Isn't the head coach always the one at the front of the bus?
Yeah, I was right. Watch out, Jim. Watch it drop on the interstate.
I was headed for you. Rashawn Winton. Elusive for a moment. Finally, he is brought down. Loss of 1. Good play defensively again. Rick Jarnigan, the sophomore from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, has been all over the field today. And there you see the Mohawks for Unity. They were shade into the heads of a lot of the players for Delaware State this week. Not enough team unity today, unfortunately, overmatched against Delaware. Coke Zero game track coach, Hens dominance.
Well, you know, offensive line needs a lot of credit there, the way they were able to set things up with their pass protection and their run blocking for tough. I mean, the guy gets almost 300 yards. You know they're doing a good job at the line of scrimmage.
School record in 4 touchdowns for him. Here's Struther, tries the right side. Jarnigan again. Sideline to sideline, makes yet another tackle from his left defensive end spot. 5-yard gain there on the play for Struther. Back up to Kareem Jones, featured running back for the Hornets. Struther from Miami Carroll City High School. Came into the game 318 yards rushing and a touchdown this season. Third and 6. Play action. Struther, intended receiver on the screen. Good pressure. Jarnigan, what a series he had. And the ball well underthrown there by the quarterback, Mashawn Witten, the junior out of Chicago.
But Jarnigan's got some good PT today. You know, he's got to play a lot with Matt Crowley been hurt this year. And I think the fact that he's such a dominant player gives you a lot of depth there. And the one thing that we said earlier in the broadcast, this team's got a lot of players back next year. Very young defensive football team. They're going to have to replace Flacco and Cuff. But they've got on offense, but they've really got some good players coming back on defense.
John Height returning there for Delaware, trying to stay clear of that ball. Hens will get it back when we return to Newark. They're on the way to round 2. Delaware Home Blues here in Newark, 44-7 lead. Bradley behind Sean Scanlon. Quarterback in for the starter, Joe Flacco. Great day for him, but Omar Cuff, big story, 288 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns for Delaware. Reeves with a big hit on Bradley. Russell Reeves. Sledgehammer tackle. Let's take a look at the Pontiac game-changing performance. Got to be Omar Cuff with his huge day, Coach.
Yeah, any way you look at it, whatever he needed to do, he was able to do it today. Inside, outside, power running, balance. Just a tremendous day for Omar Cuff.
School record 288 yards, the 4 touchdowns as well. He's 11th in the nation rushing at this level coming in. Here's Bradley Reeves again. It's like a replay of the play we just saw. Man. Bone-rattling hit. Pick up a 2 there. Cuff and his numbers tremendous. The leader at this level, Coach, of Division I football in terms of yards per game, Jordan Scott, tremendous season and career at Colgate, more than 170 yards. But I certainly would put Cuff's production and ability against anyone, any level. Yeah, what we've seen today.
Yeah, I mean, he ranks right up there with Ray Rice, McFadden, you know, all the good backs you see around the country. I mean, he could play at any level.
Here's Bradley. The wall defenders again.
Excuse me, Dave. The one thing that I would say that might hinder him a little bit in the pros, he's a little bit small and he doesn't have tremendous speed. He's got good speed, but you know, there's a lot of room for guys that can catch the ball like he can and run tough. Special teams, a lot of different areas. He's got a shot.
Stop defensively for the Hornets. Stuart Kenworthy, as you mentioned, another former walk-on. A couple years back, Delaware lost not 1 but 2 punters in a game. The next week, Casey Cure, the head coach, told his assistants, round up everyone on the roster who ever punted in high school. Kenworthy was one of those guys. He won the battle in the competition that day in practice. Here's Hudson on the return. Rung up, brought down at about the 33. And Kenworthy was told, you got the job. When Coach Keeler saw him for the first time, he said, now what's your name again? Oh, by the way, you're our #1 punter. 44-7. Reese, thank you. Can't wait to see Paul Harris, sophomore at Syracuse for Jim Boeheim's team. The Orange lost their first game of the year the other night to Thad Mona's Ohio State Buckeyes at Madison Square Garden. Johnny Flynn, coach, remember that name, great point guard for Syracuse, a freshman. Dante Green, he is a forward, a freshman for Syracuse, and a good one too. James Beverly carries off right tackle, maybe 2 yards on that play. Ollie Taylor is in, the brand new quarterback for Delaware State. You can see the SM on the back of the helmets, the stickers to honor and memorialize a student at Delaware State, Shalita Middleton, who a few weeks ago passed away. She was shot, drive-by shooting, a freshman cheerleader from Washington, D.C., along with another freshman student who did survive. She was shot in September and passed away last month. Norville gets the carry here for Delaware State. So to honor her memory, Delaware State has her initials on the backs of their helmet. And you see the memorial in Dover at the place she was shot. Shalita, by all accounts, a fine young woman, excellent student, her whole life ahead of her, and tragedy striking the Delaware State campus about 45 minutes from where we are here in Newark. Ball on the ground. Picked up. J.T. Laws scoops up the fumble for the Fighting Blue Hens. And they'll get the ball back here. A long day for Delaware State gets longer. Wow. Finish that story from earlier. Nathaniel Pugh was the other freshman from Washington, D.C. who was shot that night. He has survived. The freshman Leor Braden was arrested in connection with the shooting for his alleged involvement. 44-7 game here. Jared Bradley again the featured back. Josh Pope puts him down. Getting down to 4 minutes left in our fourth quarter. And that'll be all for Delaware State. And the Hornets' initial appearance, coach, in the postseason. But as you mentioned, they're just getting there for the first time ever, winning the MEAC for the first time in school history. Big accomplishments for the Hornets this year.
Yeah, it really has, and it gives them a lot to build on. And Coach Lavin can, do a good job of building on this as far as recruiting and showing everybody what his team's capable of. And we're going to see some fierce in-state battles for recruits between Delaware and Delaware State now.
Bradley nailed by Ron Spinner, junior from Lorton, Virginia. And the stronger players on the defensive front, the coaches tell us, for Delaware State. Their season will come to an end, as will an 8-game win streak. Undefeated for the first time in MEAC play. Ending the reign of Hampton, who's been such a dominant team in that conference. 10-1 overall. Before running into a buzzsaw, a blue buzzsaw, here in Newark. Overmatched in just about every category. Bradley again. Reeves from behind. Yet another tackle for Russell Reeves. Up to 13 for the day. He's had a good one.
Yeah, if we were giving out turkey legs like John Madden, we'd have to give him one. Just his effort throughout the game has just been tremendous. And I give a lot of credit to this Delaware State team. Second half came back and made a game of it. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of second-team players in there for the Blue Hens, but, pretty good adjustments at halftime.
Keon Hendricks, the injured center we told you about. As Shannon reported, took him in for medical checkup. Back out. Of course, his day is done. And it'll be very interesting to see here in Newark what happens with Hendricks' status. Fourth down fails there for Delaware. They will turn it over with 2:17 to go. Catch the NCAA Division I Football Championship live on ESPN2 HD. The road to Chattanooga to crown the national champ begins at 8 Eastern on December 14th. For a preview of every NCAA national championship and ticket information, including the 07 NCAA Division I Football Championship, go to ncaasports.com. NCAAsports.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships.
Chattanooga does a great job of hosting that, and I'm going to get on the soapbox again here. It's just great to see these 16 teams fighting for the championship on the field, and there's a lot to be said about the teams that continue to progress, but you feel badly for these teams, kind of like a bowl team that loses, because but certainly you don't want to take away from their body of work what they did all year.
Got up next, college basketball. Jim Boeheim's Orange against Washington. Part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Dick's Sporting Goods NIT season tip-off. Third place game from the Garden in New York. Ollie Taylor stays in, backup quarterback here for Delaware State. Norville, the featured back on this series. He'll get the carry again. Not much doing there for Norville. You know, Coach had a chance to cover as a sideline reporter the national championship game last year in Chattanooga, App State over UMass. You want to talk about a post-game celebration. There were thousands of Mountaineer fans on the field within seconds. I mean, I was overwhelmed trying to get to
Well, it's nothing more there. Knowing you've won the national championship, and for App State 2 years in a row after a long time of getting into playoffs and finally winning. And you watch them this year, they got a lot of experience, and they got a Monty Edwards playing quarterback.
Taylor throwing. That pass incomplete. Graves the breakup. Looking there for Eddie Brown. But remember, it's going to be a difficult run for App State. They take on James Madison in the first round, one of the top teams from this conference where Delaware plays, the Colonial Athletic Association. So we'll safely say Delaware is through, taking on the winner of New Hampshire, also from the CAA. There are 5 teams from this league in the tournament. And Northern Iowa game tomorrow night, Unidome, Cedar Falls, Iowa. Tough place to play for UNH.
It really is a tough place to play, and you talk about a home field advantage. They always have one, but I'm looking forward to this game between Appalachian and James Madison. You know, Mickey Matthews done a great job down there. Used to coach with me at Marshall and Georgia. His quarterback's a little bummed up, and is not for sure whether he's going to play full speed tomorrow, but he's a really good option quarterback.
8 conferences auto bids, the Big Sky, the CAA. Gateway football, that was Northern Iowa. MEAC, Delaware State, Ohio Valley, Eastern Kentucky, Patriot League, Fordham, Southern Conference, Wofford, Southland Conference, McNeese State from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Quarterfinals next week, December 7th and 8th on campus. The semis and the championship games, we told you, ESPN 2 HD, December 14th in Chattanooga, Finley Stadium, Davenport Field at 8 Eastern Time. Nothing like covering a national championship game. True title game. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and it's for your players to build up. They do a good job, a lot like the bowls, have the banquets and everything. You get a chance to interact with the other teams, but I think just the fact that you decided on the field, and certainly these young men play on their level like the guys do. And you see these teams year in and year out, kind of like the perpetual teams around the country like Southern Cal, Oklahoma, Ohio State. You see McNeese State, Appalachia, the same teams in the playoffs every year.
Josh Bright punts to John Heights, and that ball dies inside the 30.
Well, hopefully they'll get in the best formation in football right now. What do you think? Victory formation?
That's the one you love as a coach. Al Levan. Some words for Shahir McBride, his great receiver, who should be bound for the NFL. McBride completely limited today. The senior from Chester, Pennsylvania. Final game as a Hornet. And class act there from Coach Levan, congratulating some of his fine players who led them really to a great season.
Yeah, we got
nothing to hang your head about.
Hey, we got to go back on that one more time. When you could go through your conference undefeated, and just got off to a bad start today. Delaware really ready in this game, and made the decision to defer and took the win and just jumped all over Delaware State. But as usual, Rhino, enjoyed having the chance to cover a game with you, buddy.
You too, Coach. A lot of fun. AC Killer in Delaware will move to 9-3 and round 2 of the Division I football championship. Scanlon takes a knee. That should be our last play.
Yeah, boy! Yeah! This is our field, baby.
The first ever meeting.
That's a great season, Al.
Good job, Coach.
Great season.
Good luck in the playoff, Coach. Take the whole thing, okay? All right. Great job, guys. Great season, guys.
It was a great season. 44-7, first ever meeting goes to Delaware. Coming up next, basketball, Washington, Syracuse. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For the entire crew, Jim Donnan and Shannon Spig, it's Dave Ryan saying so long from Newark, Delaware. Fighting Blue Hens into round 2.
Will have to guard him for Syracuse. We saw him in the semifinal shoot the ball very effectively. In fact, 5 out of 10 from the field. He likes to play out away from the basket. Look at the bracket.